Happy Friday, y'all. Today is a mega-sized toy therapy with Mega J Retro. How are you doing tonight, sir?
How's it going, Aaron? Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too. So, what we're gonna do? There's some people. All righty. So, what we start off with generally is we do this. It's based on Don McMillan's um, stand-up, but basically, I want to know where you think you stand in the Myers-Briggs chart of Geek Nerd Dork. So, as we define this, we'll go through and define some of this. So we'll kind of cover the topics. So, if you have a high IQ and an obsession, we would call you a geek. That kind of qualifies a lot of us in this in our particular niche. If you have an obsession and you're socially awkward, you might be a stalker. If you have a high IQ and you're socially awkward, you might just be a dork. And if you have a high IQ, you're socially awkward, and you're obsessed, you're a nerd. But here's the good news. If you're obsessed and you're socially awkward, you can learn stuff and get better. So you can move into nerd there. If you have a socially awkward and you have a high IQ and you're a dork, you want to be a nerd, all you got to do is find an obsession, whatever it is. And if the IQ and obsession is there, to move to nerd, you just got to figure out how to be socially awkward. Kind of work on that thing in practice, right?
Just, I remember when I saw that whole stand-up routine. I was on the floor. I started sharing it with everybody I knew, and everybody who I thought would have appreciated it, whether they were a geek, a nerd, or or possibly even a stalker. I was sharing it with everybody. It was just awesome. So
yeah. Sadly, too many people have confirmed that they're stalkers, but I'm not sure that it was necessarily stalkers in a bad way. It might have been toy stalkers. We might have covered it that way. So it may have been, So where do you think you fall on that continuum? Are we going to have to change,
Geek
geekproud.com
proud.
to nerdproud.com?
Okay. So, when I was younger, a lot younger, I was probably socially awkward. Even now, I'm probably, in my head, probably a little bit socially awkward. But the reality is that you get me to a situation where I can just start talking, and I guess it would really boil down to the fact of who's in the room. Because if there's somebody who's even a little bit into some sort of geekdom, then I'm there. I'm totally there. And the thing is that I can carry a conversation for the longest time. And I tend to just be a welcoming personality anyway. So I guess I grew out of my social awkwardness when I was really really young. I guess that's probably, actually, no, not really young. I think around high school is where I really broke the mold. Because funnily enough, when I was in high school, I started getting really, really into anime. Anime was my big thing. That's how I actually my channel started as an anime channel. And when that started to happen, I basically threw everything out the window. I just wanted to share anime with everybody. Like that was a big thing for me. I just wanted to like start like proliferating videotapes with everybody, and just say, here, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this. And that was like how I started just really communicating, and really just as you said, it was an obsession.
Yeah.
It was an obsession, and I was in high school, so I was learning. So, but at the same time, I was a little bit socially awkward, so I was an absolute nerd. You know what I mean? Like the trifecta
Yeah,
had
the
come
trifecta
together,
was right there.
right? The
Yeah.
trifecta had come together. So that was then. But then I started doing things like creating anime clubs, like viewing, like show
Yeah.
theaters and stuff, right? And then it became more in depth on how to organize events and do other stuff. So then I became more knowledgeable, right? So then I as you said, I moved from socially awkward, because that's sort of like took a sidestep, and then I became more of a geek, and that's exactly where I am today. I'm much
Out of
more of a geek
necessity.
now.
Out of
Yeah,
necessity, you
yeah.
moved to that
Well,
side.
it was an evolution. It was an evolution, right? Because nobody else was doing it, right? And I used to be like a lot of people used to call me the anime pimp, right? Like that was what I was doing in high school. I was literally pimping out anime, and
Yeah.
it was just this fun thing that I used to do, right? So because of that, I had to become you know socially acceptable, if you will. Just
Yeah.
I had to be able to
Less socially
carry
awkward,
conversations.
more socially like,
Yeah, exactly. Well, I had to be social. I had to actually,
yeah,
talk to people, and
talk to people.
I
Yeah.
wasn't the wallflower anymore. I wasn't the guy that trying to pretend I was having a good time. I was actually, because I was talking about the things that I loved. I was really
Yeah.
having a good time, right? And people looked to me um as a resource, right?
Yeah.
It was like the it was like the drug deal going down. You know what I mean? They would meet me in like between classes, right?
Got any of them
Yeah,
Robotechs and
between
Samurai
periods,
Warriors?
yeah, between periods, I'd be at a certain location, and everybody knew where I was, and they would walk over, and they were like, "You got anything new, dude? You got anything new, brother?" And I'm like, I might have something good for you. It was the whole school knew who I was. Basically, it was hilarious.
And that's a good
People
thing. I mean,
people
we
some
if we
dude would
don't
come up.
grow,
Some guy would come up to me and say, "I hear you got some good stuff." I'm like, depends on what you mean. And
yeah,
it would
that's
just
a
roll on from
relative
there.
term. Good stuff of what? What would you like me to say? I have good stuff. But I'm going to check in with the chat, and then we're going to get into the deeper questions because it looks like we're going to have some fun. And Eldor has said hello for the evening. I know that he was doing some work with Broman. Hopefully, he'll check in again later. Carol is here. Hey, Carol.
I met Carol in Ohio.
I
She was able
know.
to drop by. Yeah, it was great meeting her.
Mr. Nolan is here. I shipped his Oziversary winnings today. Hopefully, you know, Canadian and US Customs is
Always
kind
good to
to
see
us
Nolan. Good to see Nolan.
because
Always great to see Nolan. Yep. Yep.
I always dread sending internationally, and any doesn't matter where, because for whatever reason something always happens. It's an
You know what?
invariable
I
consequence.
got a great story with Toy Sorceress. She tried to ship me a Duplico. It went halfway around the world before it finally got to us. It was
Oh goodness.
ridiculous. Yeah, it was just nuts. It literally got back to her because she didn't accurately put down what was in the box. So it actually went halfway around the world, came back to her, and then went halfway around the world again. So it literally made it all the way around the world in terms of kilometers and miles. It was just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I always sweat it because I sent a package to Eldor in New Zealand, and I'm just like,
Wow, that's cool. That is really cool.
yeah, I'm hoping this works. I was just like, I hope it works. I did everything right. Got Happy Accident here. What's up, Ben? Radical Toys. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Adam, what's going on? Yeah, I sent one to Netherlands the other day, and I was worried that that was not going to make it because I didn't realize at the time that it didn't have any tracking. So that was kind of scary.
Yeah, I was a little freaked because I get nervous. And Happy says apparently Toy Stalker is a pretty cool name for a band. Well, maybe that's what we can do. We can all start a band and call ourselves the Toy Stalkers. Toy
No,
Mama's here. Christina, how are you? And Skyfall. What's up?
hey, what's going on, Scuffle? No toys are safe. No toys are safe from any of
No,
us.
they're not. Lawrence, Punk with Toys.
Hey,
How you
Lawrence is in the
doing, man?
house. What's going on, Lawrence?
Figuratively speaking. Hey, John.
Actually, Lawrence, since you're in the chat, I'm talking about PowerCon tonight, and Aaron, you're welcome to drop by too. But around 1 o'clock, my usual time. If you guys want to send me a PM really quick, I'm talking about PowerCon 2024, and anyone who knows knows. So
Yeah.
again, everyone's welcome to come chat about that. Okay.
And we got Ed Action Figs in. How you doing, sir? And Lawrence apparently is driving, so he can't do anything right now except drive. Yes, drive and text, not a good idea, Lawrence. Let's not do that. All right, so we've checked in with everybody. We'll say hi to people as they come in. So one of the things that I do it's a little bit different. And because I do these it's a pseudo interview, but really it's more of just talking about our love of toys, but it's also kind of putting the emphasis on remembering how to play, why we play, what the importance of that play is. There's, the old adage, all work and no play makes so and so a dull boy, right? There's a reason why that's there. Um, One of those things that I try to focus on is finding joy in the everyday. I spent a lot of my life being negative and being focused on everything that wasn't in my control. As I went through graduate school, went through got into my dissertation, there were some switches that flipped, especially with my son. When my son was diagnosed with autism, and he's on the severe, profound end of the spectrum, he's nonverbal. Um, Basically, I will be caring for him until the day I die. Um, it puts things in perspective in a way that I realize the importance of needing those positive outlets. And toys for me, in the last, I don't know, 18 months or so, I went back to them. I know I've been that collector where I went and I collected toys, played with toys till I was almost 18. Um, I don't think I bought too many toys between the time I was about 12 and the time I was 18, but I still had them set up. My flag was in my attic. My Masterverse, or my Master, so the Universe stuff was set up there. My Thundercats Cats Lair was up there. I had all that stuff as a kid. So I want to remind people the importance of play. So with that in mind, I'm going to define what a play state is. And then we're going to go from there and kind of sit, we're going to ask some really deep questions that are fun questions, and they're meaningful questions.
Can I
So,
just say, Aaron, that that you, sir, are a hero. Okay,
thank you.
like don't ever let anybody say any differently. The fact that you are, there for your child, and you will take care of that young man for the rest of his life. That takes real courage. So, no matter what happens, my friend, know that we know that you are an absolute hero, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go with play state. It's a state of mind when one is absorbed in an activity that provides enjoyment and a suspension of the sense of time. So, athletes would call that flow. Some of the rest of us would call that play. You're abandoning time. So, with that in mind, when was the last time that you played?
So, I mean, that's a loaded question. I think for many of us in this sphere,
Mhm.
um, i- it, it in some ways, it's my job to play, right? In some capacity, at some like reviewing a toy is not technically playing, but it technically is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because for so a few days ago, I think it's a few days ago. Anyway, like sometime in like the last couple of weeks, a few days ago, I think, I reviewed the Crimson Strike Team
Yeah.
from GI
Yeah.
Joe.
A few days
Right?
ago.
I got us up. We up here in Canada got super lucky, and they got shipped to Toys R. Sorry, to GameStop,
GameStop. Yeah.
and along with the Force Unleashed, which is just god awful expensive, 3-pack. So I got to play with that. I got to actually sit down with it. I got to move things around, pose them, do what we do as collectors, right? And if I had to say, there you go, right there. I thought you were going to show us something inappropriate, but that's okay. So there you go, right? That's the way that is, and in a way, that's my job, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm trying and failing at building an entire brick set, right?
Yeah.
The Astro Boy Awakens set from Fantasy, and
Okay.
I'm having a lot of fun with it, but it's just time with
Yeah.
Lego. Lego involves a lot of time. Well, sorry,
Yeah.
I say Lego, but I mean building blocks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Building blocks take a lot of time.
Similar thing, but
Well, legally, you have to say building blocks. You can't really say Lego with these other companies, right? But if I had to say when was the last time I played, well, you know what? Here, I'll show you something. This is sitting beside me all day. Okay,
nice.
and I literally just turned this around 2 days ago, and it took me like, and look at that big beastie down there. I was
Nice.
playing with him as soon as he arrived. Like that's what, again, that's what I do, right? Whether it's my
Yeah.
job or not. Sometimes you just get caught up in the moment, and it's funny. There you go, right? The trollable, right? The AirPod, the parrot. Now, here's the thing. It's funny, and this is how you know. Well, somebody just exploded. This is
No, I know. I got it magnetized. I
oh,
put
there you go.
magnets in it.
Nice. This is how
So
you know that you are playing,
yeah.
because as soon as you pick it up and when you stop, you literally realize 2 hours have gone by. You're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
right?
You're like,
That is
oops.
how you know you're playing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the difference, right? If you're playing but reviewing a figure, that's technically not playing, right? You're watching the clock, you're trying to do a review, you're trying to be analytical about it. But if you're actually picking up Battle Cat over here and you're
Yeah.
manipulating him and putting him around and doing things and try to get it the perfect pose, and then literally like, this is freaking awesome, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, Jesus Christ, 2 hours, 2.5 hours have gone by. Where did the
Yeah,
time go? The time went because you are playing.
exactly. So when you were a child, what were your favorite ways to play? I know this
I'm,
is deep questions here,
I'm still a child.
but when we were a kid, so for me as a kid, I didn't care about scale. Everybody played together. It didn't matter. You know, as I got older, in that 10, 12-year-old range, then it was more of, this universe stays over here, this universe over here. But sometimes everybody would come together for this big multiversal clash, you know. So what about you as far as playing as a kid? Was it everything had to be separate, or could you mash everything?
Just like any kid, normally you'd only get one toy every so often. So toys had to be interspersal. You know what I mean? You had to be able to use toys in different scenarios. Oftentimes, cops and robbers, they would end up, the sorry, I called the cops and crooks, right?
Yeah,
Cops and crooks would end up playing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would end up playing with Thundercats, and Thundercats would end up playing with, He-Man. Yes, there were scenarios everywhere where you literally mixed and matched, and certain characters look really, really good with other characters, and the like. Right? Hey, what's going
yeah.
on, Ken? Good to see you, brother.
So do you remember how that made you feel when you played as a kid?
So here's the thing: when you're playing as a kid, you don't really feel. You feel like you're. So, it took me a while. Like, now that you asked that question, here's the thing: I was watching. What was it called? I can't remember what it was, but I was watching a. No, it was a toy store near you. Okay, and it's a series by Nacelle,
Mhm.
Brian Vox-Weiss, and he does some amazing work. Like, he
Yeah,
did the toys that made the toys that made us, the movies that made us. Those types
yeah,
of
yeah,
documentaries and stuff. And in one of the episodes, um, he's the not it was one of the toy owners, and I think he was saying at the time that when you're a kid, right, you are looking for it's an escape, but it's your imagination.
mhm.
And you know what? Here's the thing. I feel, this is my opinion. Okay, I don't want to get this twisted. This is my opinion. But I
'Kay.
feel I feel the kids today don't use their imagination as often as they should. I think that they've been presented
I
with
don't think
things,
you're wrong in that assumption.
right?
I think there is less need for them to progressively do that because of the transition from physical to digital.
New media, okay,
Yeah,
new media like iPads, like cell phones,
yeah,
like television, like video games. We did like in my age bracket, I think it's your age bracket as
yeah, it
well.
is.
We actually were in that beautiful age, where that beautiful time where we started with analog, like a
Yeah,
lot of analog. Video games were there, but most of us, when I was growing up, Atari had pretty much destroyed the video game market.
yeah.
So it was still back to cartoons and back to toys.
Mhm.
And then around 1984, 85. something magical happened. This company out of Japan
Yeah.
created this thing called the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I couldn't afford it. My parents couldn't afford it, but it was just this mystical item that came out of nowhere. And if you had cousins, or if you had somebody who had a birthday coming up, or if it was Christmas, I didn't get my Super Nintendo. Like me and my brother Dex, we didn't get our Nintendo until about 1986,
Yeah.
right? Almost a whole year after everybody else, almost a year and a half after everybody else. But that was the beautiful thing about it. We'd go to our cousin's house and play it. We'd and it was funny, even though Nintendo had sort of taken over everybody's lives. Here comes this little cartoon, right, called Brave Star, right, and I did not lose my love of toys. After 1986, 1987 came around, and then 1988 came around, and all of a sudden these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it never
Yeah.
really left. You know what I mean? So if you're asking me if I remember what I was feeling when I was playing with
Yeah.
toys, it wasn't really a feeling. It was more just me being in my world. I was in,
That world.
this world. So if I was feeling anything, I was feeling empowered. And that documentary helped me to realize that's what I was feeling, because I didn't know what I was feeling. You know what I mean? That documentary said kids wanted to feel empowered because their parents are telling them what to do. Everybody's telling them to do, like police officers, teachers, everybody tells them what to do. But when they're in this little world where they're playing with their toys, they get to tell their toys what to do, and their toys have to listen. So you literally are the creator of your own
Yeah.
world, and that's
It's
exactly what that.
it's empowerment, it's control, especially, for me as a child, playing with toys gave me a sense of control that I didn't have any other perspective. It allowed me to play how I wanted to play. It allowed me to do what I wanted to do with, if I wanted to make a transformer be He-Man's buddy, I could make him do that. It wasn't a huge. No one was going to tell me that that was not okay to do. I'm sure there was somebody out there that was telling all their friends how to play, but I'm not. I wouldn't listen to it. So you kind of briefly talked about it, about your kind of playing differences as far as a kid versus now. Now it's more structured and oriented towards what you do. Does that take the fun out of it in any way?
No, no, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I think it only enhances it. The realizations that I have now, that I didn't have as a kid, allow me to, again, this is where we talked about that whole chart, right?
Yeah.
My obsession, right, and my um what's it called? My obsession and my sorry, I forgot what was the blue part of the chart again. There's
You had
IQ,
socially
obsession, my
awkward
social
IQ and
that's right. So my social awkwardness, right?
mhm,
And my like that moved over, as we talked about, that moved over
yeah,
to an IQ and um an obsession aspect. So now my obsession, right? That idea is narrow focused now, right? So
yeah,
now everything's got to be Master Universe. Because if you look if you look on the shelf right here, it's all Motu. There's nothing
yeah,
else on here, right? There's nothing
yeah,
else out here at all, right? And that's because nothing else belongs there, right? Here it's just a matter of space, right? You see Skeletor here, you see GI Joe, you see Animal Warriors of Kingdom, but that's actually more because this is a show that I make, right?
yeah,
That we do,
yeah,
right? This is what we do, right? So it's just a lot of background, right? And we're going to get to one of your other questions, open or not open later, because
yeah. We will get to that.
that's another thing entirely, right?
So, childhood toy lines. What were your toy lines that you collected as a child or played with as a child? What were your favorites? What were your ones that you just kind of had these what we call I like to call these the stragglers. The why did I get this toy? Or it was the accidental grandma purchase. She thought you said, Transformers and she got you a GoBot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Motu is the biggest line that I can remember. Like, that was my even today.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing for me. So Master Universe has always been a part of my life, and it's one of the biggest things that has ever really resonated with me. Thundercats. Unfortunately, I didn't have too many of the toys, but it was still a big, huge obsession for me. To this day, I'm one of the biggest Thundercats fans out there. So much to the point where I actually had a real Sword of Omens commission for a little over $4,000. That's how obsessed I was with Thundercat. I am with Thundercats. But if you're talking about the overall other toy lines that come to mind, I collect. And here's the thing. You don't collect anything when you're a kid. Okay, that's something you got to remember. You don't collect anything when you're a kid. You
It
either
depends
beg.
on your kid, because I
Well,
was weird. I
okay,
kept the boxes, I kept the cards.
dude, you're
I
amazing.
found out later that my mom threw them all away.
Oh, that's so
When I
bad.
would go out to my
That's too
dad
bad.
for the summers,
Yeah,
yeah, she would take them and toss them all.
yeah, because they're clutter, right? That makes
Yeah,
sense.
to
Unfortunately,
her,
too bad. Too
yes.
bad.
To me,
Too bad.
no.
Right? Too bad. But I was not so much of a. My mom was actually the one who packed them away in the boxes. My mom is more of a pack rat than I am, and now that's completely gone 360. That's 180. Now
Yeah,
I've become the pack rat. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing. But I mean, my mom kept everything, and that I bless her for that. You know what I mean? My mom's amazing. My mom's my hero, right? My dad's also one of my heroes, but in a different way.
yeah,
Um, but I had Brave Star, I had He-Man and the Master Universe, I had Cops and Crooks, I had um, so many others. I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I had, as I said, a few Thundercats. Um, I had Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't even know what they were. They were being the
yeah,
stragglers, right? Like
yeah,
like you're saying. Um, I remember one of my favorite toys was this two-headed dragon. I think everybody had him. It was this
yeah.
green two-headed dragon, and he was made of pure plastic. I swear to, I don't know how I didn't cut myself with this guy. He was made of such hard plastic. It was hilarious. I had a Garfield piggy bank, but it was all plush.
Yeah.
There was like a plastic inside that the rest of the cat was
Weird.
plush,
Okay.
right? Um, I had so many, like, my grandparents, my parents. I had Mr. Potato Head. I had a Ronald McDonald big plush doll with you squeeze his stomach and he would play a whistle, and he had Grimace in his pocket. Some people remember that, some people don't.
Mhm.
Um, I had Black Star figures, right? I had
Oh,
the
wow.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
even know this. I remembered it just briefly, and then I found the damn thing. I have the ice castle from
Nice.
Black Star intact. It's not shattered. It's actually 100%
Nice.
intact. So that's a real big rarity.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't even know that. So I had Black Star. I had of course I had Superman. I had Batman.
Yeah.
From me, I had a couple of Migos of those, but those disappeared really quickly. I don't know why. I guess because they were more like dolls.
Yeah,
They
probably.
didn't stick around. I think I actually gave them to my cousins. I think that's actually what happened there. But then the superpowers collection, they started coming out. So I had a few of those. I had Beetlejuice characters. You know what I mean? When Beetlejuice
Yeah,
became a
yeah,
toy, I had those. I had so many different toy lines. I had Terminators. I had, I'm
the
pretty sure
Kenner term,
I had
the
one
Kenner.
yeah, I had one Rambo figure from Coleco.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was fun with all the
yeah,
wind up little
yeah, they had
activations. Yeah, I had a great play life as a kid. I really did. I was very, very fortunate and very, very lucky to have and GI Joe, of course, GI Joe. But the GI Joes are more stragglers. Funnily enough, I didn't really have much of a GI Joe collection, which is why I'm making up for it now, right?
yeah.
Um, because I don't know, my parents just didn't see these tiny little figures as being worth it, right? And I had no Star Wars. There's a
Wow.
shocker. There's a
That is
shocker.
a shock.
I had
That
no
is a
Star Wars,
shock. I
right?
would have expected
Yeah,
someone
yep.
you
I had no Star
because
Wars
they
whatsoever.
were so dominant
Mhm.
in that, but, I guess after about 85, they pretty much went dormant till 96, um so are there any of those toys from your childhood that you said that quite a few of them survived, but is there any that you've actually wanted to go back and get?
Oh, well, I had to. Okay, so again, just coming back here, always, right? You look down here and you see Battle Cat and He-Man right there, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, my Battle Cat's upstairs. My original Battle Cat, he's in 6 pieces. Okay, and my poor He-Man, he exploded, and I have no idea where he is anymore. Okay, like I have nothing left of him. So I had to. I had to get He-Man. I had to get Battle Cat. I even have that on. I even have that on a video. I actually talked about how I got those back. Right. So
Yeah.
I found Battle Cat in a toy show, like we all do.
Yeah.
And He-Man was just god awful expensive everywhere I went. So I literally had to message a guy in Quebec, and he was selling it for pennies, like not pennies, it was a few dollars. But I was like
Yeah.
sold. I was like sold. Like
Yeah.
I don't care. Like send it to me. And
There you go.
do I actively go hunting for retro? Not anymore. I just they're so brittle.
Yeah.
Toys are finite, you know what I mean, especially toys of yesteryear. The so here I'm gonna quantify that. 80s plastic is the great is stronger than steel. Okay, 80s plastic is the greatest invention ever made. Okay, but it's what's between the plastic that'll kill you,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
O-rings, they deteriorate. The U ball the U
Yeah.
plastics that in the He-Man, they all deteriorate. The plastic itself will last forever, but the things that hold it together, that's the stuff that'll actually deteriorate
Yeah.
into nothing.
That's where Toy Polloi comes in handy.
He's
or
amazing. He is incredible.
Go figure. He's another one. So we've kind of talked about your childhood toy lines, but we're gonna go and we're gonna talk about something that I like to call, what did you pick up this week? So I'm going to start because unfortunately I have this ridiculous amount of stuff that came in, and I'm hurting this week. I'm hurting this week. I got my 3 range vipers.
You
I
got the
got
Big
Big
Ben.
Ben.
You got the Big Ben. Yep.
Niagara
Oh,
Force.
yeah. They had to
Flint.
put paint on his face so that people would buy him.
Yeah, I'm going to be fixing that because I don't like the way that looks.
Hey, Travis, what's going on, brother? Good to see you.
Vipera.
Yes, Vipra. Oh man, jeez, Louise.
Yeah, I said it was a
Firefly.
big
Yeah.
Firefly.
Is that all BBTS? Is that all Entertainment Earth?
Target for the 2, Tiger Force and Python
Yep,
Patrol. The
that makes
rest
sense.
was Hasbro Pulse. And then
Oh yeah, Slushhead. Good find. Very good find.
Bushhead came
I found
in.
him in Toys R Us the other day. I just
So
couldn't justify the price. I just
you know
couldn't do it.
what? Sometimes it can be a lot. And then I got another one of
Oh,
these.
Four Horsemen. Nice.
Yeah, I got
Nice.
another. This is the 2nd century. This one is actually
Nice.
made for a custom that I got. I got some pieces from Wolf King
Very
Customs.
nice. Yep.
They sent me some nice Cabal stickers. Very cool. And I got there it is.
Nice.
Nice
That's
little
beautiful.
pin that they sent.
Love it.
It's good quality.
Yeah.
It's sturdy. All right, so I've got. Hopefully, I can show you these heads decently. We'll see. Put something behind them. But this is a. Let's see. Hello, dropping the head. It's a kitsune.
Oh yeah, Kitsune. Yeah, it's a fox. Very nice.
And then it comes with a couple other heads. I ordered this set so that I could customize some of it, but this one is a little bit more alien.
Those are for your Four Horsemen?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is for the thing, and then this is a 2-piece. Oops. That's the other way.
Those are for Cosmic or
Yeah, this is Cosmic Legions. But they'll fit on Mythics. It's the good thing about them. I got this head. It's got this little thing that pulls back. I can get it to go back.
it's a visor, right? A
Yep.
monocle. Sorry, a binoculars. Yeah,
Yep.
they look nice. Yeah,
So,
this looks great.
Got those to paint. I haven't decided. I know I'm going to use the Kitsune for the. I have this weird thing about animals, anthropomorphic animals.
You and Oz,
And then
you and Oz
last
are so
but
much
not
into
least, I
critters.
did get a LED kit that I can make my own LEDs, so I can put them in my diorama that I'm building.
That's awesome.
So it's been a week. It's been a week. I
It has
just
been. Yeah.
my poor bank account.
Yeah. No kidding.
I feel so bad for it.
That is just crazy. That is insane.
That was way more than I was expecting for the week. And then, of course, the 19th supposedly is when the Crimson Strike team is supposed to come out.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
That's crazy.
did you get anything this week?
Okay, so as is the nature of what we do, you know, of course I'm getting stuff all the time, and I kind of regret that. Just like you, my bank account goes up and down. It's like, oh, we weren't expecting that, were we?
Mm.
Okay, so within reach, because I forgot we were doing this segment, but within reach, let's see. Oh man, so I got this weeks ago, but I'll show it anyway. So I have Jesse.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, yeah, that's Jesse, Clone Commander Jesse. Loved him in the Clone Wars, right? Obviously, Order 66 was very, very bad to him. That was a bad thing, unfortunately. Let's see here. Just now, I'm just gonna have to move this around.
Hey, random.
Got this in from Entertainment Earth.
Oh, nice.
So, yep. So
is that a whole wave, or
it is a wave, a complete box wave. So we got Spikor. Yep.
Nice.
Spikor. And I'm probably gonna drop one of these eventually. Don't want to do that though. We got the Snake Armor Man at Arms.
Nice.
Serpent Claw Man at Arms, sorry. I always call him Snake Armor Man at Arms. I don't know why.
Well, technically, that's what he is. So.
I know. Infiltrator, Snake Man.
Oh, nice.
Yep. He's actually got a face under there. I was pleasantly surprised when somebody said that. And my personal favorite, who I never had as a kid, Squeeze. And I'm really happy they did not make this guy deluxe, because that would have pissed me off. Because he can fit in the box. So yeah. And is it
I
just
don't know
me?
what they would add to him to make him deluxe, though, because technically his arms were the only thing that he really had.
I know, but that's my point, right? They're making anything deluxe these days. But
Sure.
Is it just me, or does he look like a WWE wrestler?
Kind of.
I swear to God, I've always associated him with that. And then one funny thing which I want to share with everybody, just because I used to work in a warehouse. Actually, I worked in a few warehouses when I was younger. While I was in college, trying to make gotta pay the bills, man. So I always have, because I've been there, I have full respect for anybody who works in a warehouse, because I know exactly what it's like. Now these things don't want to get back in the box, of course. Why would
I
you
did
want
that in high school to earn money for my Genesis. So
yeah. Again, there's no shame in any job. A job is a job, and people should be proud when they have a job. I'm already struggling with my current job right now, so
yeah.
So I'm actually really considering, getting a part-time job. I'm not even joking. So one of the things we learned really quickly when you're in a warehouse is when you're on the line and you're picking for clients. It's important to understand the difference between a single piece and a carton, because on an order sheet you're going to see ones, okay?
Yeah.
And one would mean one piece or one carton.
One carton, yeah.
Okay. One piece is like a single pen. One carton is like 24 pens, okay?
Yeah.
And when one of us would screw up, we'd hear about it the next day, because that was a lot of money you just threw out the window. So I'm gonna have to walk over there, but let me show you
Oh, you're
what
fine. I'll check in with the
let me show you what happened today.
chat.
So,
All righty. I will check in. Noom, 842. How's it going, man? Good to have you here. Uh, Nolan, yeah, I know. You guys don't get great sales, and Toys R Us is never going to go on sale. Uh, Travis, you'll have to let me know which one you want to see more of, because I can probably just send you a photo of everything. So let's see. Anything else? No, 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 no. Hang on. Uh-oh. Travis needs to talk with Ken. They can get in and talk wrestling. Except they're going to talk smack to each other because somebody's going to mention some screw job in Montreal, and then it's all going to be over.
all right. Always good to see everybody. Terrence is good. Terrence, good to see you, brother. All right. So first of all, before I show off the thing, also got this from House Repulse. It says,
Ooh,
yeah, snow
yeah.
job. Beautiful figure. Hopefully he's actually in there. We shall see.
It should be. If it's Hasbro Pulse, it's safe.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories everywhere, but I'm pretty sure like from the weight, it seems like he's in here. I'm hoping everything's intact, but shouldn't be a
My
problem. Although
only issue with my snow job is that when you put him to shoulder a gun.
that does
Oh
scare me sometimes.
no, I think
Yeah,
some of them they've been doing double tape on, and I
I
don't
know.
know
I'm
why.
just
I
saying.
don't.
I'm just saying. Every now and then, it kind of freaks you
Yeah,
out a little bit because
I don't generally tend to worry too much if it's going through them. They tend to check their stuff pretty well.
got mine. Have to open it. Yeah, absolutely, Terrence. We all got to open ours. All right, so
This
there
is
we
what
go.
they wanted to see. This is the LED kit.
There you go. All right, so
Then you have to buy these separate, which is the battery holder, which is the power.
wow, you gotta buy those separate. That sucks.
Do what?
You gotta buy those separate. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, you got to buy a separate. You can buy them together, but this was cheaper. This was like $16 for both of
Gotcha.
this together.
Gotcha.
And if to buy an LED light, you would pay up 2 or 3 times. And these I can adjust the length of the cable. So
All right, so everybody, if you ever work in a warehouse, always remember the difference between one piece and one carton, because I ordered from Walmart. I ordered one big Ben. Okay, I ordered one. I ordered one big Ben, and this showed up at my door, and I was shocked. Yeah, this showed up at my door. It is a carton with 4 big Ben, factory sealed and everything. So
nice.
4 big Bens showed up at my door. So word to the wise.
You know what? But you know what? They have come with the gas mask, so it can be a whole team.
I'm not opening it because I have a funny feeling I'm going to get a call. And I'm happy to return 3 of them because it's just other people need these. You know what I mean? People are having a hard time finding a lot of things. So, but
Yeah,
if they don't call back, I'll be
yeah.
giving away a few of these. Let's just
I might have to sneak in because I need to get another one at some
well,
point.
you know what?
I want one with the gas mask and one without.
You know
So
what, Aaron? One is yours. Let's put it that way. Okay. So if they don't call me in 2 weeks, one is yours. All right, brother.
so I appreciate that.
No worries, bro.
So we've talked about kind of your childhood toys. We showed off what we got. Now we're gonna go into Jay's collection. Now I'm not seeing all of the collection because I know you've been showing it
Oh
off here and
God,
there
there's just too
in the
much.
thing. So this is gonna be an interesting moment
It's
here, I
gonna be
think.
embarrassing, is what's gonna be. It's gonna be
It won't be that bad.
ridiculously embarrassing.
Nah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. All right. Select that. It's always fun when I do this because it's like click that button, move this button here. So I know you kind of have this thing. I've seen you do a lot of cosplay. When you do your, hunting videos, you definitely look at the cosplay stuff and the helmets and the, morphers and the whatever, those props. So I know that's obviously got to be a big part of your collection, at least at some point.
Yeah, I'm into props. I like props. I really respect everybody who can make props, and I love props in movies. Helmets are big for me. I'm a huge helmet collector. It's a really big thing in my collection. I love Power Rangers. I love Star Wars helmets. You know what I mean? Um, Iron Man was a big thing for me. When he got onto film, I really loved the Iron Man suits. I looked into getting a full cosplay suit at one point, like years
Mhm.
ago. I gave up on that, but yeah, I love the props. I really do. As I said earlier, I commissioned a full um, Sword of Omens because I didn't like what was on the market. I still don't like what's on the market, right? So I'm very critical about that. But yeah, I
Are
love
there
I love
any
props.
helmets that you want that they haven't made yet, or
Um,
anything in particular?
so far, okay. So a couple of things. They have made everything that I want so far. Okay. But I've missed because I'm an idiot. I've missed out on a few. I should have grabbed the Green Dragon helmet, the Dragon Zord helmet, the Green Ranger Dragon Zord helmet. I should have grabbed that when I had a chance, and I didn't because I figured it would always be around, and it was not. It was like I had a chance to get it half off. I didn't again because I'm an idiot, and I'm now kicking myself because I'm not sure they're going to make it now. I'm not sure they're going to release it. So that would. So I would love a Lord helmet. Are you kidding me? I would love
Oh, that would be
a.
awesome.
It's too big. It would like it would have to be like a third the size because a full size Darth helmet is way too big.
But
That thing,
I need one of the trooper helmets too,
sure,
just a little black
yeah,
covering the face, and you can't see
absolutely.
nothing.
That would be so great too. Right? That it has so many other options for different helmets out there. So yeah, that's one I would definitely like to have. If anybody's out there who would sell it at a decent price, that's not going to kill me because people are asking stupid money for that one. I would love to get it. The other
I'm
one that I'm
sure with his death that probably people went up
impossible,
insanely.
impossible, right? The other one that I've been on the lookout forever, and if anybody knows where I can track this down, I almost have a complete Mega Man helmet collection. Almost complete. The only one I'm missing is the bubble lead gray helmet. That's the only helmet from Mega Man that I'm missing. And if anybody can track one down for me for again a decent price, I am looking for that. That's definitely one of the ones I'm looking for. Um, I was looking for a really good Iron Man helmet, but I recently tracked it down. My dream helmet for Iron Man. I recently tracked it down.
Did you
Uh,
get one that's like articulated and
well, here, yeah.
stretching and
Let,
stuff?
let me hold on for a sec.
Okay. I'll check in with the chat while you're doing that then. So let's see. Space. Okay. Wait. Where are we? Showed them the LED thing. What do we got? Home now. Was not driving. And posting. I was waiting for my daughter to get her stuff. All right. All right. Hang on. Let me move you to the big screen for a second. There you go. You're on mute.
I was dreaming of getting this years ago, but I remember when these hit the market. A couple of people put out a viral video, a couple of viral videos, and this thing went just gangbusters. And it was selling at one point for $350, and I was like, "There's no way I'm paying $350 for this
Yeah.
thing. Absolutely not." Earlier this year, I saw it had dropped all the way down to $142, and I was like, "All right, if I'm not going to get it, if I don't get it now, I'm never going to get it." So there it is. This is my pride
Nice.
and joy for Iron Man helmets. And if people don't know,
Is that the
uh,
Silver Centurion one?
this
Or
is
is
the
the
no. This is the Mark III. This is the Mark
okay.
III. This is the one where he had it in a suitcase. I don't know if you
Suitcase,
guys
yeah.
remember that. Yeah. So this one has a couple of party tricks, but the biggest one is Jarvis. Open the helmet. Jarvis. Open the helmet. Sorry, Jarvis. Open the mask.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Jarvis. Close the mask. It's almost out of batteries. That's actually what's going on here. Hold on.
Well, we know what Jay's been doing.
There it is.
You've
This
been
has
talking to
so many.
Jarvis.
It has so many. Yeah, I've been talking to Jarvis. This is my play failure right here. I had this on my face for like the longest time. It was hilarious. But yeah, it does a lot of things. Like Jarvis, activate combat mode. Jarvis, combat mode. So now it's in
Nice.
combat mode. Jarvis, power down. Jarvis, shut down the system. It does a lot of fun things, and I just had to have it, right? Literally
Yeah.
4 AA batteries, and it ate them within a day. It's just
Oh
it's a,
wow.
oh, it's a battery hog. It's a battery hog like crazy. But yeah, my ideal uh
That's cool.
helmet.
All
Hold on. Thanks.
right. So let me put do. Hang on. Let me there. All right. All right. There you go. All right. So now we're gonna go to the second thing. Now we're gonna talk about inbox out of box because it's kind of relevant because you're kind of both. You're like me.
Yep.
You have some stuff inbox, some stuff out. What determines in Mega J's collection? What determines who gets to be freed?
So I'm an idiot. And basically, okay, so I have to quantify what's going on here. My room was empty so Aaron, you might not believe me, but actually I think you can relate.
Yeah.
I only started collecting back in 2019. A lot of people think I've been collecting for like 30 years or whatever, like ever since I was a kid. No, I only started collecting like hardcore, like
Yeah.
like seriously collecting back in 2019. Almost everything that you see in this room, except for all the anime tapes and the anime DVDs that you see there,
Yeah.
um, all this stuff. Okay, and the bookshelf, which is full of mostly anime. Again, I was huge to anime, right? So actually, everything on the shelves themselves, the Harry Potter jars, the all the anime, all the manga, all the magazines. That stuff I've had for ever since I was young. But everything else, all the Star Wars figures, all the Marvel figures, all the Transformers up there, Castle Grayskull, the Darth Vader mask, all that stuff. That was all in the past 4 years, right? Not even like it's actually closer. Yeah, okay, 4 years, right? That's all in the last kind of 4 years, right? Just literally obsession, right? Just going crazy, right? You get somebody into that. What determines what goes up, what goes in and out? The fact that I just went crazy and started buying all this stuff and never actually had the time to open it. I was an idiot, and I just I would love to actually. I'm in the process of building my toy room, right? And I keep saying that. I know I've had videos upon videos of actually me moving things around, getting things organized, whatever. And I know nobody's going to believe me. Okay, I understand it was, but Dex and I are actually going to go downstairs tomorrow and actually do something. Okay, this is a I promise this every time, but Dex and I are actually going to go downstairs and actually do some work. Okay, and it's not Dex's problem; it's my problem. Okay, like I literally am dragging poor Dex out of bed tomorrow just to get this stuff done. Like that's what happens. But
So, am I spotting a grandizer down here? Is
you
that what
are.
I'm looking at?
You are. So what you're actually spotting is a great Majinger. Great Majinger is to the left. So the ones with the wings, that's Great Majinger. Okay.
Okay.
That is Star Poseidon from Star Avengers. All right.
Okay.
Um Grendizer is actually not there. He's actually I didn't have a chance to take out Grendizer, but he's not there. Right. What's there is actually my Force 5 collection. Um
Okay.
so Force 5 is what got me into giant robots in the first place. A lot of people don't even know what Force 5 is, right? Obviously
Yeah.
you know who Grendizer is, so you must have
Yeah.
some. Yeah, so you must know Force
I had
5 to a
that weird
certain degree.
esoteric childhood.
No,
That's all I gotta say on that one.
there you go. But I love that. I love that. You can see Duke and Cobra Commander there on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from Super 7, right? And the reason those are out is that I did a review of those two figures on the channel, right? So unfortunately, if you really had to ask what gets taken out these days, it's for reviews, and that's sad. That is so sad. I'm so upset with myself, right? And that's why tomorrow And I promise this. And the thing is, I promise you, because Dex is not going to let me just stop. He's going to force me to get everything done. Tomorrow, we actually are going to get something done. Okay,
Yeah,
because I
because
have a
then we
mountain.
have
Yeah, I
this, and
have
I
a
was
mountain.
just
I'm
like,
just.
I I understand this. I understand this, and I feel it in my soul because, yeah. Hey, hang on. Okay, so if you look over here,
Yeah.
those are my unopened that I have to find a place for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things stay over in on my poor dog's crate. It gets that's now down too low.
Mhm.
But my poor dog's crate gets everything put on it till it then I have a closet and a half full of unopened MISB stuff.
Yeah.
Not that it was intentionally supposed to be that way, but I didn't have space for it. And then whatever I couldn't fit on the wall, that's where it went. If it didn't fit on the shelves and it didn't fit on the wall, that's where it went. Like all of my Origin stuff, it's in the closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's one of those. It's that thing that we all get to where we just as a collector we want it. I mean, I could show you a photo of my customs area, and you'll see that it's 7 figures high and 3 figures deep, full of figures that are going to be customized at some point in the sometime future. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll get around to it. So it's kind of like this is kind of like what it feels like to be in my closet or in my in my customs area. Although I did clean it up today because it needed it because I got tired of looking at it and I needed some organization. Um, there's only so much intervention you can do, random. Only so much intervention you can do. I
But
do not have an issue, Lawrence. I do not. You know
I think
what?
it.
If you would
I think they're talking about me, actually.
no. Trust me, this has been an ongoing thing. Lawrence and Ed
Oh,
actually
so they
think
know. Okay.
they've
Okay.
been trying to do an intervention because they think I buy too much. And I'm like, dude, I don't buy too much. I buy a normal amount. I just happen to get one of a lot of the stuff that I get, or two in this case. See,
Yeah.
I got two. Doop,
Yeah.
doop,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're
No.
both going into the display. I'm working on a diorama right now for
Yeah.
my his tank.
Yeah.
So once my his tank
Can
comes
I?
in, I can do
Okay.
the rest of it.
Okay. Are you going to show any? Or were those the only pictures I sent you, right? Or was there one
Yeah,
more?
those are the only pictures you sent me.
Okay.
So
Let me share something with.
all right.
Let me share something with you guys. Hold on. So let me remind people just how bad it can get. Just give me a second. Let's see
I
here.
deny that, Lawrence. I do not have issues. There's not more than one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 issues.
Okay. So if you want to share that, Aaron. All right. So check this out. Check this out, guys. I've been trying for 2 years. You can actually see it here. I've been trying for 2 years to figure out what to do with my collection. Okay, I've been trying, and it's been an ongoing struggle for me, because again, like it needs to get fixed. It really does. But let's just have a really quick check on. Let me just show you guys this one really quick. So this one, um, this is a good example because this is almost like an accumulation of what I was trying to do. So here, check it out. So this is like a sort of a. I try to show really quickly how bad it can get. Okay, that's downstairs. This is my living room. All right. These are cabinets which I picked up on Kijiji, right? And this is just across from me. These are cabinets and shelving, right? These are bags and just bags and bags and bags of toys, right? Um, so
Uh,
it can
uh,
get it can get really bad really quickly. And here here's a panoramic of my room, right? Of those pictures you just saw, right? So you can literally see there's my desk, There's that. You just saw that in the other
Hmm.
picture. I cleaned it up actually, as you can tell, because
Yeah.
it was a big mess, right? And yeah, the goal, okay, the goal was to actually, and it still is the goal, which is what's happening tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to actually get stuff and organization and to organize this stuff. So I started with this cabinet, right? And I put that, I took a few days and put this together, right? I moved my desk downstairs, right? And then put this thing in the office downstairs, right? So now I have room for this, right? But then it's about moving everything that was in the living room down there,
Hmm.
right? And then you can see the time lapse here. So, right? So that's my couch, right? And you can see me
Ed
just
says we both need an intervention, but you know what? I know he has his stuff on his dining room table. I don't want to hear nothing from Ed.
absolutely. And then over here, Snake Mountain was on that side. Now it's on this side,
Yeah.
right? And then look,
Well, and that
this is
thing is massive too.
yeah.
Now I'm concerned. Now I'm concerned where Cat Slayer is going to go.
Oh, dude,
My
it's
thumbnail
just
may be
crazy.
more telling the future than I really want it to be
Absolutely.
fortune telling when it falls on you because it's somewhere.
So then I ended up buying shelves. Sorry, I'm not buying. Getting shelves for the for this room
Mhm.
for the thing. And I didn't actually show you this, but a lot more of my collection is actually downstairs. Right? Like here, let me show you. Let's see if we yeah, like let's see here. Yeah, see, I ended up getting two more shelves and just filling those up, right? And those are completely full downstairs. So you know, there's a lot of stuff, and this is the dream right here. This is a cabinet, a full glass curio, like it's massive,
Mhm.
and that's where a lot of my collection is going to go. Right, I'm going to start opening up the boxes. I'm going to start moving this. It took four people to get this in a truck and on over here. It was
Mhm.
absolutely massive, right? And but look at the size of it. This thing's going to be huge.
Yeah, that's
It's a
massive.
beautiful, beautiful cabinet, right? But if you look to the left, that's just full of toys. You know what I mean? All this whole section over here. There, you can kind of see it in the background there.
Yeah,
It's just absolutely just bonkers. It's full of toys.
it's a lot.
So yeah, I mean, but you can't keep going that way. You just can't, right? And
No, it's not sustainable.
that's the goal, right? The goal
Yeah,
is to get it all organized and all put together and stuff, and actually start taking them out and putting them on
yeah.
display like I was supposed to. As a matter of fact, Dex and I literally just put the Batmobile into one of the other cabinets just now, like literally just now.
The new one, the
The
McFarlane
86
one.
Batmobile, yeah. We just put it in there, right? And thank God I don't collect Hot Toys because I mean like you look at He-Man and She-Ra here with Battle Cat, like
Well, let's be
that is a
honest.
disaster.
Those
That is a disaster waiting to happen. Oh my God, that's
let's
just
be honest. Mondo's 1/6 scale are Hot Toys. They're
they are well. That's what,
they're
but
He-Man and the Master of the
I
Universe Hot Toys.
I understand, and that's what I mean. Thank God I don't. I'm not that deep into that rabbit
Yeah,
hole yet, but
I
it's
can't.
getting there.
I can't. There's just too. There's
It's getting there.
that's one of those things where space. If I'm already taking up a lot of space with 112, 1/6
Yeah,
would just it'd be over for me. There'd be no space left.
it's just crazy. Yeah,
Get 5 figures and then I have nothing else.
what's going on,
No
Ted?
other room. So one of the things that I do, I kind of branch out and I try, obviously I try stuff that doesn't have, you know, supporting media or a nostalgic um tack on me, I guess.
Attachment.
Yeah. So is there any any things that you collect that don't have those established toy franchises, that they aren't those evergreen properties from our childhoods? Is there anything that's, in the independent lanes that kind of tickle your fancy?
So I didn't know about this, and Brick Something and figuratively speaking, they got me into these as well as the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, Atreyu here, and this was a sample given to me by the company. I got to tell you, these things are incredible.
They are.
If anybody's actually, thinking about these, definitely it has my recommendation. Wonderful figures. I still have to do a review of Tanger, who was the PowerCon exclusive.
PowerCon, yeah.
Yep.
I
So
love it.
yeah, definitely this has definitely been on my radar for a
Yeah.
while. Um, I've been a fan of many different lines which don't have established properties. But I'd be lying if I said I was collecting anything right now. That's probably the closest thing I have at this point, and I'm probably gonna start that
So everything has that nostalgic tie for you.
for a certain
And
degree, right? Because I do like some stuff. Like I can't get into Mythic Legions. I just can't. That's a rabbit hole. That would bankrupt me. It's so
it's
good. It's so good. Like I was there at PowerCon. I saw I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. I just
yeah,
can't. If I get
it's a sinkhole that starts
it,
off and it feels like it's solid, that you're not gonna fall in.
yeah,
Started with 3 figures for
I
me,
know, I know.
and now I'm, ugh. So thankfully, with the reinforcements that are coming out next week, there's only 2 figures in it supposedly is what they so far. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah,
If
I
if
will
they only
say
come with
that.
the dwarf.
Yeah, I will say that I'm looking forward to the Fire and Ice collection that's
Oh, yeah,
coming out
yeah.
from
F Frazetta Girls?
Fawcetta Girls. I'm looking forward to that. That is something. Eamon O'Donoghue, who's doing the sculpting, I met him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
wonderful, wonderful guy, wonderful guy. And he let me try and play around with the dark with the
Dark Wolf?
with the Dark Wolf figure. Pardon me, said too much tea. And I loved it. I loved it. I can't wait. I seriously can't wait. It's absolutely amazing.
They
So
look
yeah,
good, and
yeah,
then my weakness is, like, things like the Cyberzoic.
yes, yes,
They've already
yes.
funded, and that
Yep.
dragon
Congratulations.
is
Yep,
just screaming at me, but
absolutely.
I'm having to exercise some, some restraint.
Restraint, some restraint. Yeah,
I have to. I have to. I don't have space for it. That's the number one thing. There's rules that I have for my collection, and we'll kinda get into your rules for in a collection in here in a second. My rules are pretty much if I have to have room for it, and it cannot cost more than my first car. It's a weird rule, and it's hard to explain, but my first car cost me $550. This was
okay, so
1990, roughly.
okay, so
So
HasLabs are completely out for you then. Like,
no, no, no.
okay,
I can do HasLabs because they're not more than $550 for me.
well, certain ones.
I haven't had one yet. The Joe ones haven't been.
I know. Okay, but so you weren't in on the Ghost. The Ghost was definitely not in your
No,
well, the Ghost
I don't
wasn't in your
do
wheelhouse.
TVC.
Okay,
I,
okay.
I don't do any Star Wars
And
anymore. I get sold my
Cat
Star Wars
Slayer
collection.
Cat Slayer wasn't even in the picture then.
It was tempting. It was very tempting. Thundercats is my third
Yeah,
favorite IP. It goes Joe, it goes Masters, then third IP,
yeah,
and this is lifetime IP.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Thundercats is number 3. So
Thundercats is my number two. Thundercats is number two for me.
so I mean, I had everything as a kid on Thundercats. I mean, I love the toys. I like Cat Slayer, even Cat Slayer, and it was cheesy and it was lame and but it was fun. It was still, you could do whatever you wanted with
It's
it
fantasy,
mentally.
man. It's just a
And I
fantasy
loved the
world.
Thunder Tank as a kid. Thunder Tank, that original Thunder Tank from LJN is fantastic. Yeah, I can't do the coffee table one. That one's way too big.
It's on
Yeah,
the
no,
couch.
you can almost sit in it yourself. I know exactly, right? It's massive. Yeah, no. So, are there any rules for Jay's collection?
What do you mean by rules, though? Like, you're gonna
Things
have
that
to.
these are hard and fast things that this is the line, I can't cross it. This doesn't go there. You're gonna say no.
I,
You're like,
you know,
kid. You
you
got
know.
none. You got none. There's no rules.
That's not even fair. Um, you're comparing me to Ken. Oh man, that's not even fair.
It's okay.
Um,
I enable Ken too, so don't feel bad.
um, I mean, Okay, so no, I mean they're not rules. It's just they have to make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I did a video today. I did a video today on pre-ordering the Mattel Creations Skeletor and Skilled Skeleton V Friends
Yeah.
2-pack. I was so torn. If anybody hasn't watched that, go watch it. I was so torn. I was literally torn in half because it has something I absolutely want. I really love it. I just so much love it, and that's something I have no fucking idea what the hell. Pardon my French, but I just have
No, you're
no
fine.
idea what the hell is this thing. Right? I had to look
The other
up.
thing, yeah, the
I
Skeletor looked great.
I
I've
no,
the
even no, no.
Skeletor with the interchangeable faces, fantastic.
Yeah, to a certain degree, I'm fascinated by this
And the other one,
skilled
I'm just
skeleton.
not sure.
Well,
Yeah.
to a certain degree, I'm fascinated by that. Right? I'm like, what is this thing? It looks neat. He's wearing Skeletor cosplay. It's kind of cool. He glows in the
Yeah.
dark. There's so many questions I have. I looked up V Friends. I'm like, and that gave me no answers. I'm like, what the hell is this? This doesn't make any sense. I looked up Gary V. He's a freaking billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, well, he's not a billionaire, but he's a freaking like entrepreneur mogul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look up Gary V. He is like an investor, and he's a self-made person. He's like he wants to buy the jets. Like he's got a fascinating story, and he just kind of came on one day. I'm going to make a property called V Friends. And he started making V Friends. It's just out of nowhere, right? And now that property is making bank, right? So
Yeah.
I was so torn. So my only rule is this gotta fucking make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I buy this thing because of Skeletor and his three faces? I almost said I was this close to saying yes. I
Yeah.
was so close because Skeletor makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Skeletor makes sense to me. Skeletor should only be 24 freaking dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, at most. All right.
Well,
Skeletor should only be
technically, that
24.
Skeletor should be like 19, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, well, there you go. Right.
it's not really
There's
technically a deluxe.
but there you go. Right. I mean, like
Yeah.
he doesn't come with the additional swappable heads in the regular Skeletor that's coming out in a
Yeah.
few weeks, right? Or you pre-order them now,
Yeah.
right?
Whenever he comes. Well, I think they're saying quarter 1, but you know how
Yeah.
that'll work. We'll get it
Well,
in
some people are getting
quarter4.
him now. You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
people have snuck it. I don't know. Like, but anyway, it has to make sense to me. Okay. And I made a very painful decision. You can watch me wrenching my freaking stomach in that video. I'm literally like, oh my God, this hurts me so much, but I'm gonna say no. I said freaking no. I looked temptation in the eye and I said, damn you, fuck you. I was like, no, I'm not going to
Yeah.
do this. It doesn't make sense. I'm not dropping $45 for a figure. And I just dropped $90 for a Crimson freaking set that
Mhm.
shouldn't make sense. But in my head canon, it made sense. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it makes sense if that's what you see for my display
Are
I
you buying the Crimson?
yeah, I've got
Yeah.
it.
There you go. See, that's what I'm
I
trying to say.
teetered on it, and the reasons that I got it were, one, we get Baroness's circle glasses. I'm weird that way. I will buy shit for an accessory. The desert snake eyes, I'm not a snake eyes fan. I've said this multiple times. It's not my thing. But I bought a desert snake eyes so I could have the bandolier that has the grenades on it
There you go.
that I need to make a custom big lob that I'm currently working on in the garage.
There you go.
So,
But you have a head cannon and it works for you, right?
yeah.
Like
So it's
for me, the reason to buy Baroness, like okay, so Baroness is the only reason to buy that. I did a review. I don't know if you watched it, but
yeah,
Baroness is
yeah,
the only reason to buy that 3-pack, and I'll tell you why. Baroness is the only reason to buy that 3-pack because a, you can take her head off and use it for the original Baroness,
yeah.
okay, and b, she doesn't have two freaking holes in the side of her head.
No,
Okay, like that's the real reason why you should buy this Baroness. Okay, for the glasses, whatever, but she literally does not have two gosh darn squares on the side of her head. Okay,
that we
what
got for
the
both of them. Yeah.
yeah? What the hell was they thinking? Seriously, what the hell was Hasbro thinking around that time?
I don't
Thank
know. I
God,
guess they
thank
were too
God.
worried about it coming off. But here's the thing with that set is that it works in the context of if I have a bunch of Crimson figures now because I got an Alley Viper. I have 2 or 3 regular Vipers on order. I've got the
You got
Crimson
some
Bats.
bats. You got some
So
yeah.
we'll have that whole Crimson section in my army area because I'll have, one of my displays is going to be basically Cobra Commander sitting on a throne inside of you know, a castle, and in front of him is going to be troops. So it's going to be a nice little thing. I'll have my Mezco Destro there next to him. So
He's a big
but
boy. He is
so
a big.
it's
He's a
a good
big
looking
boy.
figure.
Mm,
But I won't be getting any more.
mm.
There's
Yeah,
just
no, they're too
something.
expensive. Too
It's
expensive.
not an
Yeah.
expensive thing. It's more of there's just some limitations with the fabric that just for me it was just kind of like, you know what, I can get four other figures for the price of this figure. It's just not
It
worth
still
it.
comes down to price. I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying.
It's
I hear
just
what you're
not
saying.
worth it at that point. They look good, but that one I got because I wanted those secondary head sculpts, like the one where he's smiling and it's just creepy. It's like really, really creepy looking face.
The teeth. It's a teeth.
Yeah, it's the teeth one. I didn't think I would like it when I saw it, and when you see it in the image, it's different, but when you see it live, then it's like, yes, that works.
It's the red gums. It's the red gum
Yeah,
line at the top, and it's just
yeah,
like, what? What's going on there? And yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it.
yeah. So, so you kind of talked about it a little bit, but you came back to collecting in 2019. Now, I'm assuming that it was pandemic related that you came back to
Yeah,
collecting, but
you got me. You got me.
so what about times before that? Were there any times in your earlier adulthood where you collected? Because I came back originally and collected when Power of the Force came out. I got to get all of those Star Wars toys and figures and vehicles that I did not get as a kid. And then, of course, I stopped collecting right around the time my daughter was born. So,
So back in okay, so we're taking the way back machine a little bit further here. Back in 2006, I think, or two. No, it was like 2002. Back in 2002, I took a trip with my family to California. Um, I don't think it was as far as California though. Anyway, I took a trip down south to the states, and what happened was we got into this toy store, this hobby store, and they had the anniversary sets for Master Universe. Oh my god! I had a budget. My parents gave me a budget of $200, and I literally nearly blew the entire budget on those figures. Battle Cat, He-Man, Skeletor,
mhm.
Panther, Beastman, Tila, Man at Arms. I wanted to blow the whole wad on there, right? But my mom um, basically said, "We're not," because this was the start of the trip. We hadn't actually even gotten to California. We were in New Jersey. It was a hobby store somewhere in New Jersey, and she was like, "You are not bringing those all the way to California." I was like, "Come on!" She would not let me do it. She wouldn't let me do it. So I was like, "All right, fine." So I give up on that dream, but
Mhm.
I wanted so badly to get those, and they're worth quite. But I would have opened those right off the on the right on the spot. A lot of people kept them in a box. I would have opened those right on the spot. Anyway, that dream went by the wayside. What I started collecting a lot when I was younger was anime figures. Actually,
Mhm.
anime figures were the big thing for me. I collected Final Fantasy VII is one of my all time favorite games of all time, and I didn't get any Final Fantasy VII figures, but I pretty much went ham on every Final Fantasy VIII figure like every Final Fantasy VIII thing I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
I have all the summons from Final Fantasy VIII. I have Bahamut. I have Ifrit. I've got Siren, um, Carbuncle. I've got like every single one of those. Cerberus. I've got all the summons. Right. I've got them all. Even Ultima and what's it called? Omega weapons. I got them all. Right, and they're actually at my parents' house. There's there's another problem. I really got to get that stuff out of there.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure
yeah.
that works out well.
So yeah, they
Uh,
tolerate it to a certain degree. Anyway, so I was collecting that hardcore, and then um, I guess the other thing that I was collecting for a while, yeah, it was I was trying my best to collect another series called Bubblegum Crisis, and I never.
Yeah,
That's on my
I
wish
know who it
list.
is.
That's on my wish list. I wanted the Yamato Bubblegum Crisis, Bubblegum Crash, and Crisis figures. Never got them. Never got them. I never actually had the chance to get those, which was sad. I really, 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 really wanted those. Um, and yeah, that's. I mean, there are other things which I was trying to get for a long time, but never actually uh, pulled the trigger, unfortunately. So
So is there, is there anything that you want to do with toys now that you don't currently do besides open them? So something like customizing, something like building dioramas, something like these other things that, I kind of do all of that, and it's I if you told me in 2022 when I started collecting again that I would be doing this, then on top of that told me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now, I would have said you were insane because this is far outside my comfort zone.
sure, sure, sure. So if you actually go back to that photo of my room, um,
Hang on.
yeah, the clean shot, the one that actually makes sense. The other shot, forget about that. That was just embarrassing. But if you go back to that shot of my room,
Hang on. Give me a second.
um, I
I will get there.
yeah, I I dabbled in a few things, and I know I can do it. So do you see that? Do you see the sort of ums there?
Yeah.
Okay, it's sitting in a diorama. It's sitting in a
Okay.
well, it's a case that I created. Right. If you zoom in on it, it's actually I actually carved out the relief, so
Oh,
you can
yeah.
actually see that it's actually sitting in this stone block, or what appears to be a stone block. Right. I take that it's made of foam. I take
Okay.
that thing to conventions, and people are like, "Is it going to break?" Because everyone thinks it's like weighs 200, like 600 pounds or something like that. But obviously it's made of foam. It's very light, right? And that was way out of my comfort zone. I had to I remember buying investing in a whole bunch of different foam cutting tools and heat guns and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I was surprised at how well that it came out. It's not in the picture, but on the bottom there's actually a Thundercat symbol that I carved out of
Oh,
foam too.
cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I have the aptitude. I've always been into art and stuff like that, right? I have the aptitude for it, but um, as far as what I want to do, I want to finish freaking getting all my collections out of boxes and get them into that goddamn toy room. That's my plan. That's the plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow's plan is to actually get that shit done.
Yeah.
Okay, at least to a certain capacity, right?
Well,
I'll
it sounds like it's gonna be more than a one-day job. So, I mean,
okay. So
realistically,
so
you
so
gotta
you
chip away at it.
so here you saw the video,
Yeah,
right?
I saw it.
You saw the video. Well,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
no,
like it didn't
I no,
it didn't
I
do
got
anything, right? It didn't look like
I feel you on
like
this
like
100% right now.
you can see my Ghostbuster proton pack back there. You know what I
Yeah,
like you can see that's what it is. It's got to stop. It's got to make sense again, right? There's
yeah,
my rule is coming back. It's
gotta
got to
make
make
sense. Yeah,
sense, right?
and that's not a bad rule. I mean, it has to make sense for your collection. It has to make sense for you. I mean, if you're just buying it to buy it at that point, I get into trouble with clearance because Target is so frequently, doing clearance. I'll get into trouble with it because I will buy things because I think I can do something else with it.
It's a trap.
It is a trap,
It's a trap.
but I do sometimes do that. I do actually use the pieces, but like, did I need another heavy duty slash roadblock? No, I don't care what anybody says. That's heavy duty. It's not
I know
roadblock.
a lot of people say the same thing, which makes sense. He really does look like heavy duty.
Yeah, so I do this thing where I will wait till clearance, and then sometimes I'll wait long enough that I don't get anything. But I've made it a point now, if I have anything that I'm gonna get on clearance, I have to walk around in the store with it for 5 minutes and decide whether or not I really want it. I was at Walmart this morning, and they had Rotons for 7.50. They
I
had
w I
4.
I woulda
They
killed for
had
that.
4
I
rotons.
woulda killed for that. I woulda like that we
4 rotons at 750, and
Motu is my weakness. I woulda done it.
I looked at it, and
I woulda done it.
I touched it, and I thought about it, but I already have one, and I really
You
only
know what?
needed 1.
It's a good thing I don't live in the US because I would be all over that. I would
So,
literally
and
I'd be
Walmart almost
hunting all
never
over
has good
town.
stuff.
I would be hunting all over town for those things. I seriously would.
Yeah, my
It would be
Walmarts here
disgusting.
never have good stuff, but
Disgusting.
that was a shock when I went down there and found 750 on that. I was like, "Oh my." So I almost bought one. I was really close, but I walked away because I knew what I had here. Because I would be like explaining to my wife, "Yeah, no, it's fine. Um, yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. We only have 25 figures to figure out where we're gonna put them." But yeah, no.
I got more
Um,
than that.
yeah, no.
I got way more than that.
Oh, no, 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 it's more than 25. That was that's just in this room. We're not talking about the closets
Yeah. Yep.
because none of the gargoyles are out. I can't
I'm
put
sorry.
any.
I'm sorry. I love those. There's another one. I love those gargoyles. I just don't know what the fuck to do with them
They're big.
until
The wings are
that's the
beautiful, but
problem.
they
That's the
just
problem.
it chews space.
Look,
That would be ones where I would have to get something to hang them on the wall.
NECA's doing some amazing marketing with that. They are
Yes.
including wings with all the other secondary, tertiary characters, which is
Yeah.
smart. That's
Yeah.
smart. Okay. But as it is right now, as they are right now, the only one I can put on my shelf is Goliath because I got Bronx. Because I got yeah, I got Bronx. That's the only reason why I can do that because he's got the folded wings. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
until they start getting the rest of them, I think Eliza has Brooklyn's wings.
But you
I
know what?
think.
It's the whole thing is that at some point I just wanted the boys. I the gargoyles. I
Yeah.
wanted Demona. I'll probably get Xanatos in the Steel Clan suit,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that will be probably where I stop with that. So it's one of those things where it's a condensed line, but I got the figures that I wanted. I don't. It's not that I don't want Eliza. I just don't see any point for her in my collection.
Sure enough. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you have to kind of make those. You have to draw that line. So in collecting, we all kind of have these things that kind of reasons why we get things. Well, when I look at a figure, say this, this isn't, it's not heavily tied to my childhood. There's something that draws me to that figure. This is my second one, by the way. And this one is completely just going to be customized, top to bottom. It's an expensive way to customize, but it's a customize. But I customized a Mythic Legions that I got from my group of folks, and they, I it's the first time I've done it, and I like the way it takes paint, and then gave me some ideas, and now that I'm seeing some other ideas, I know what I'm going to be doing with it. But there's always something that draws me to a figure that says this has got to come home. This is why I need this figure in my head. That rationalization. So, what draws Jay to a figure? What is the thing that says this is what I have to have?
Um, Nostalgia plays a really big, um, a really big feeling for me. It really does. I mean, I'm a Barbarian fan. Like I love Conan the Barbarian. Conan the Barbarian. When Super Seven announced this line, I was like, screw it, I'm in. I'm all in. I don't fucking care. I'm in. Um, I'm sort of thinking about Red Sonja right now too because she's just part of that kind of you know
The executive replicas one. Yeah,
yeah the
it's
coffin
fantastic.
you
I
know
don't have it, but I know a lot of the people that I'm
yeah
friends with. They have it.
and she's one of the better figures in the line apparently. Like she
Yeah,
can actually stand up, right? There are a lot of people who say
yeah,
that she can't. Um, so the aesthetic again, I collect really weird things. I had to get this guy when I was in PowerCon because he's my childhood favorite, Redlore, right?
yeah.
Um, but there is a certain aesthetic that I'm into. I'm into. Okay, so the old comic book saying brutes and babes. I love brutes and babes. I love them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Big hulking brutes and really bodacious babes. I love that. I love that aesthetic. That is just the way I grew up. I grew up in a time where Superman was Superman, Wonder Woman was Wonder Woman, He-Man, Tila, She-Ra. Those were the types of archetypes that I
Yeah.
grew up with, and that's my aesthetic. I love that design, right? So when I see something like Dark Wolf, right, I'm like, oh freak, I'm in on that, right? And when I see Conan the Barbarian, I'm in on that, right?
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe, right? I'm in on all of those things. AWOC is right there,
Yep.
Thundercats, all that
Yep.
stuff. So if like I am a product of that type of design, the barbaric brutes and babes, anthropomorphic type of character. Um, I love gargoyles.
Yeah.
Again, huge characters, massive, right? That is a type of aesthetic I really, really enjoy. Um, but I also like anthropomorphic characters like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I gravitate towards. Do I like realistic characters? Yes. Some of the Marvel Legends I can get on, right? But they're mostly going to be the more traditional characters.
Yeah.
Like my goal right now is to finish off my X-Men collection. That one's
So
huge, right?
comic or MCU?
No, MCU, I can't do it. I can't do MCU, and the reason I can't do MCU is because there's just like the realism aspect of it is just too real for me,
Yeah.
right? Again, I grew up with brutes and babes, right?
Yeah.
That's what I know, right? When I see Chris Hemsworth as uh um
Thor.
Thor
Yeah.
as Thor, I'm like, he's big, but he's not big enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, he's huge. Like
Yeah.
in the last Thor movie, he was freaking gigantic, right? But he's just too
Yeah.
tall. Like
Yeah.
there's an equilibrium there,
Yeah.
right? Look, I love the movies, I do, but that's exactly what they are. They are movies,
Yeah.
right? They are like I've looked at them. I'm like, these look amazing. They look great. Here, I'll put it to this way. I actually collect. If you look at that picture again, I have the entire Into the Spider Verse collection, the whole thing, right on my
Yeah.
top shelf, right?
But
Ask me if
that's more of a cartoon
my point. My point.
aesthetic. So it's
Exactly.
more of comic book aesthetic.
Exactly my point.
So
I,
yeah.
I've
No.
been trying to collect the entire Avatar: The Last Airbender line. Right? All of I've done my best. I've got Appa. I've got Aang. I've got Azula. I've got Katara. I've got Ahsoka. Sorry,
Is the base
Sokka. I've got
best
Sokka.
action or the McFarlane ones?
No, McFarlane. McFarlane looks so great. The best action one looks like best action one. He
I,
it looks like
I
his
was
neck
just
is like
asking. I was just asking.
no.
Sometimes.
For the first time ever, McFarlane's doing pretty good anime characters because they were terrible at first. They were just horrid.
Well, he's the only
Um,
way I'm going to get something from Akira. So
well, in the Akira line, actually, the very first one that were released were really, really, really good. I have the bike and
yeah,
I have Tetsuo, right? Sorry, not Tetsuo. I have Kaneda,
Kaneda.
right? I
Yeah,
have Kaneda. I have the bike, right? I should have gotten Tetsuo when I had the chance. I'm an idiot, right? But Ryoko looked really cool from Tenchi Muyo, but the
yeah.
second versions look terrible, right? So
Well, you
yeah,
did see that we're going to get somebody is doing Ghost in the Shell figures.
okay. So here's the other problem. Again, it has to work. It has to work because I've collected Ghost in the Shell figures in the past, right? The McFarlane, the very first version of the Ghost in the Shell figure, I have her. Okay, Makoto Kusanagi.
Yeah,
I have Makoto, right? The McFarlane version. It's just a mess of freaking tentacles all over the place. It really has no rhyme or reason. And I bought it because I love the property, right?
yeah,
If I was, I think I could probably set it up again. It would look okay, but it's just not. It's not as good as later figures down the road. And these are older figures, much older figures,
yeah,
right? Today's figures are a thing. Here's the other thing. I have a certain okay. So if you want to talk about rules, right? Okay,
yeah,
so here. Okay, so fine. Here are a couple of rules. Anime stays in Japan, and freaking Western toys more or less stay in America. The only crossover with that is Marvel, SH Figure Arts, and what's the other one again? Mayfex.
Sigma.
Mayfex does fucking crazy
Yeah,
comic book style characters.
yeah.
Okay,
I have a
they
Mafex
they kill it.
as bats.
Yeah, they kill
So
it. But will I spend $100 for a figure? Abso-freaking-notly, unless I really, really need it. So, for example, right there, that's Mayfix Psylocke, and
Okay.
the only reason I bought Mayfix Psylocke is because the the Marvel Legends Psylocke is god awfully expensive right now. You can't, like, people who bought her originally, good, like, congratulations, because people are asking god awful amounts of money for
You're
her.
talking about the Apocalypse Wave one?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
the Jim Lee version, right?
Yeah.
And I want that version because she fits better in scale. But this one, what she can do, how she looks, what she does,
Yeah.
just so much better.
Yeah,
So
there's something about the way their joints move and
yeah,
just how they can be posed.
the
There's a
Japanese
fluidity to it.
the Japanese way of doing action figures is why Americans do action figures the way they do now,
Yeah.
right? With the different joints and different scales, the butterfly joints, everything like that. That all
Yeah.
came from Japan.
Yeah.
Okay. Arguably it's better now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like certain aspects, right? But at the same time, you just put a Rebel Tech figure against anybody else, it's night and day. Now Rebel
Yeah.
Tech, the problem with the amazing Yamaguchi figures, you put them in a still pose, they look terrible. They
Yeah,
look
and
like they look like,
their sculpt
oh,
looks weird with all the extra articulation. So
exactly. It looks just horrid,
you
right?
trade look or aesthetics for
For articulation,
articulation. Yeah.
ultimate articulation, right?
But I think Mofex is kind of like that nice balance of the two.
SH Figure Arts is pretty good too. You just have
They
to have,
are.
but the
It
size,
depends on how far up in the line you want to go. You mean there's
the scale. That's where scale
yeah.
becomes really stupid. You can't put them with your legends. You just can't. It's just not going to work.
Yeah. It's so one of the biggest questions that I ask, and this is I haven't asked this to everybody, but I want to ask it to you. Why toys?
Why not? I mean, why not? So okay. So I didn't collect toys as you know. I stopped
Yeah.
collecting toys for years. For years, I stopped collecting toys, but I never actually stopped. Um, okay. So here's something interesting. So back in 2002, I was already out of college. I was already well into my career, and I had no idea Master Universe Classics was a thing. I had no idea. I had no idea 2000X was a thing. I had no freaking clue. I was absolutely so far away from toys. It was just ridiculous. Fast forward 3 years, um Master Universe 2000X ends, and all of a sudden the Four Horsemen decide to start working on classics. If I'd known then that classics was a thing, I would have had the entire collection by now. I would
Yeah.
not. I would have been on that subscription every single day, every single hour. It would not have stopped. Okay, but I didn't. I had no idea. Instead, um, Bandai, because I was into anime. Anime was my big thing. I was huge into anime.
Yeah.
So instead, it was a different. It was a different. It was a different type of collecting. I wasn't collecting American anymore. I was collecting Japanese.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me for collecting Japanese was Solo Chokugin. Okay, SOC. These are all SOC boxes, all of them. These are all right. That's Grandizer. That's Majinger. That's Great Majinger. That's Star Dragon, Star Aero, Star Poseidon. That's Combattler V. That one's Grandizer. There's Grandizer. There he is. That's actually Grandizer right there. And this is the the Great Space Dragon, Daiku Maru, right? Sorry, Daiku Maru, King, right? And there's the actual Space Dragon right there, right? That's what I started collecting. I started collecting these super expensive giant robots, diecast figures, diecast. Nobody
Yeah.
does diecast anymore.
No.
Diecast was my thing, right? That's I got into that, and I got into, like I said, like Evangelion. I got into huge into
Oh
Evangelion,
yeah.
right? I had all these Evangelion. Kyoto was my big thing right there. Like I had Unit 1, I had Unit 0, I had Unit 2, Unit 3. I had all of them, right? Like and those, you want to talk about poses, that's where it
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
That's where articulation came out of. It came out of Kyoto and Yamato and all those different Japanese companies. That's where the toys
Yeah.
really took it a step up, right? And that's when that little war between, not war, but that's when McFarlane started coming up and really showing what he could try to do, and that's where freaking the Japanese were just blowing everybody out of the water. But
Yeah.
McFarlane kept going and kept trying and kept experimenting, and then quietly in the background, if I had known, I would have been in a completely different position. That's when Master Universe was like, your classics was just doing its thing, and I had no
Yeah.
freaking clue. And if I had known then, I would have been freaking. I would have lost my mind. I would have absolutely lost my mind. But
Yeah. I think I kind of.
why toys? Why
Yeah.
toys? Why not?
Why
Why not? It used to be video games. It used to be video games. It used to be video games. I used to be huge into video games. I used to play them all the time. I used to think let me ask you something, Aaron. Do you even touch video games anymore? I do not touch video games, not even once.
I do. It's just not very frequently. I don't have. I think for me, it's more of it's the where's my free time budget.
There you go, and that's my problem.
So
I used to spend 3-4 hours a day on video games, just like anybody, right? It used to be a regular thing. I used to come home, I used to sit, I used to play an RPG for 3 or 4 hours. I can't do that anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
And here's the problem with me. Dex comes over and says, guess what they just released? And I'm like, what? Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 5. I'm like, oh my God, you're not going to see me for a month. And that's exactly what happened. You didn't see me for a month.
Yeah.
Right? Where would you find me? You would find me on the stupid couch grinding for hours. I lost myself for a month. Right? It was absolutely disgusting.
I can still remember playing the original Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I don't know. I think it was over 120, 130 hours that I spent on that game.
I would not drop it. I played I beat it the first time, and I just kept playing and playing and playing and playing. I love that game. That game is just absolutely religion.
I've literally bought it on every system. Every PlayStation system that I own, I bought it again.
Absolutely.
So I had it on my PSP or my PS Vita, and I had it on my PS4, and now it's now that we have the new one, I'm just waiting for part 2, and then I'll be happy. And then
for toys, for me, first of all, the pandemic played a huge role in everything. I was cooped up in my home, and being stuck here and watching reruns of things that I hadn't watched in so long. As soon as Pixel Dan talked about the fact that the Ghostbusters Kenner figures were being reissued, I made it a goal to find them all.
Yeah.
And then I went out and said, where can I find these things? Where's the likeliest place to find these things? And I said, screw it, I'm going to Toys R Us. Right? And that some light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where have I been? I've returned home. This is the Mecca. This is the place where you want to be. Wall to wall freaking toys everywhere. And I was like, how is it I've never been here in my adulthood? How come I've never ever stepped foot in here? And I was like, Jesus Christ. And I thought, and here's the funny thing. Okay. Here's the funny thing. I was like, I wonder what American Toys R Us look like. Then I look on the news. I'm like, what? You mean what? American Toys R Us is shut down? When did that happen? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, you are fucking kidding me. Literally, the day I walked into a Toys R Us is a week earlier, Toys R Us had shut down. I was like, this is absolutely insane. This is absolutely nuts. Well, the year before, in 2018. Yeah. And I was like, this is absolutely insane. I can't believe that Toys R Us is gone in the United States.
It's weird because I can, Toys R Us is one of those special occasion places for me as a kid. Usually you got to go to the TG&Y or the Walmart, and you can go to the toy aisle there, and that's not the same. In the 80s, Toys R Us toy aisles was just insane. I mean, it was a full aisle, and it had everything you could possibly ever want, every version of whatever you wanted.
I remember walking to a Toys R Us as a kid and literally sensory overload. I was literally like, I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. Like, and then when I snapped out of it, I was just running up and down the aisles looking for action figures. It was just crazy. Yeah, it was just nuts. That sort of nostalgia. When I first walked into the Toys R Us that first day, you can watch my hunt that day. I was like, where have I been? Like, why haven't I been here? Right? I didn't find the Ghostbusters, but I ended up picking up something else. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, the reason the stuff's on my walls in the spare bedroom is that gives me that kind of feeling of walking down a toy aisle. So for me, that's the kind of that nostalgia feel, but it's also because those are the toys that I don't want to really open at the moment. Um, I don't, if I had known about the 25th anniversary Joes when I was a little bit younger, I probably would have gone ham on them then.
Yeah, yeah,
I, you know,
yeah.
I started with classified, then went to the 25th anniversary, and then slowly over the last 18 months, it's it's progressed to a problem. Yeah, I
Mhm.
wouldn't call it a problem, but I would call it a difficulty. I keep well, I'm selling one of my I'm selling one of my collections. I sold my Star Wars collection, which I had had since I was a kid. So I sold it in 20 April of last year. So, and I sold it so I could fund my current one. So, it's an interesting thing that we do as collectors, but you know, over time, and this was not a small collection. This was vintage figures, a vintage boxed Empire Strikes Back, Millennium Falcon, um, 12-inch Boba Fett complete with box, with inserts. Did the same thing with my 12-inch Chewie. Those things that I sold, but they had a couple kind of negative connotations for me, so it was okay to let them go.
Okay,
Um,
you have your reasons.
yeah, so
Yeah,
for me, it was more like this was time to let go of this
yeah,
so I can do something that I really enjoy.
yeah,
Get
yeah,
something that I really would, at my current age, would enjoy.
yeah. But
Um,
to finally answer your question, why toys? These are time capsules for me. These bring me back to a point in my life where it was a very formative part of me. If it wasn't for Master of the Universe, I wouldn't be who I am. If it wasn't for Thundercats, I wouldn't be where I am. If it wasn't for Conan the Barbarian, if it wasn't for any of these toys that I'm collecting right now, G.I. Joe too. If it wasn't for any
mhm.
of these things all have a very specific meaning to me, and that's actually why I collect them. So that's pretty much what it is.
Well, it provides that those I kind of surmised it last week when I was talking to my last guest, and I said for a lot of us that collect toys, it's about going back to that childhood safety and that control and those things that when a lot of us that started collecting again, particularly during the pandemic, everything else was out of our control. And by doing a collection or doing something, it wasn't just about finding a space for all the time that you had. It was more about trying to get some control back in our lives. And toys, for some of us, is where we gravitated. Some people gravitated toward books. Some people
Video
gravitated,
games, yeah,
yeah, video
yeah,
games.
yeah.
Whatever made sense to them that allowed them to feel less hopeless.
Trapped, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's exactly what it is.
So in thinking about, when we buy toys, what's Jay's biggest regret? Buyer's
It-
remorse, regrets with toys.
um, I don't really have regrets. I don't collect for value. Um, I if I ever have a regret, it's because maybe it's because you know I see the clearances and I'm like, dang, if I just waited. But then 5 minutes later, I'm like, ah, screw it. I'm happy. I'm happy with what I got. Right. If I have any regrets, is missing out on something that okay. So here's the thing. FOMO is a big thing, and then missing out is actually a big thing. So the things I regret, to be honest with you, and it sucks, it really does, is not getting the Sentinel at a decent price.
Yeah,
Okay, not getting the Sentinel the first time when it was available, right?
yeah,
Because I could have gotten that. I think those are my regrets: being stupid and just saying, "Oh, I'm going to play clearance chicken and see if this thing's actually going to go lower than it should,"
yeah,
right? And then just like you, gone, and it
yeah,
never comes back, right?
yeah,
Those are my regrets. If I miss out on something, or I could have gotten it cheaper, right? That's probably where I am. If I have
yeah.
any regrets, it's because I was dumb and I didn't actually pull the trigger, right?
So, do you ever, this is one of those things that a lot of us in the community, and it's one of those questions where I ask, and do you ever really experience burnout? when we're talking with our toy interests in particular, but do you experience that burnout with your toys where, like, and in your instance, you're doing, multiple videos in a week, and sometimes, I could imagine that might be a little taxing, but I do one and I feel like you know, but I really
S-
don't do one. I do end up doing like four. It's
So I'll let's. When I started my channel, it was supposed to be about archiving the memories that I had of anime and cartoons of the yesteryear that people forget. Like if you look at anime when I got into it, and you look at today's anime is in bless you if you love today's anime. There's some really great things about today's anime, but today's anime, and forgive the term, it's made for Americans. Okay, today's anime is made for an American audience. What do I mean by that? I mean that back when I was watching anime, it was made for Japanese people, and the stories that they were making were just so crazy and original. They were taking risks. They would do things which really no one had ever heard of. The most original anime that I've seen lately, or manga that I've really seen, is Berserk. Berserk,
Mhm.
that blows my mind. Okay,
Yeah,
Berserk is just
but
ridiculous.
it's a disturbing. It's a
But is
disturbing.
it really? Is it really? So
Mm,
so when I first got into anime, I read a story by Go Nagai called Violence Jack. If you think that Berserk is disturbing, okay, that's with Berserk. Berserk is a whole bunch of demons coming out of hell
mhm.
and going ham on, like, basically trying to take
Yeah,
over the human
yeah.
race. Where I really like Berserk is actually from the anime, where it was people feeding on people. That is disturbing. Violence Jack was the same way. It was literally the Great Council earthquake had destroyed everything. Everyone was in underground bunkers, or basically, it was Mad Max come to life, and people were preying on each other. And I do believe, I truly do believe, when the nuclear holocaust hits, we will literally eat each other. Okay, that's Jay being real now. If you want a look at how dark Jay can get, that is how dark Jay can get. I truly believe
You
that
just
that
you don't have to take it that far, but it's realistically when we look at um,
humans are the worst.
how people behave toward each other when there's no
Humans are the
constraint.
worst. Humans are the
When there is
worst.
constraints, just
Yeah.
imagine when there's
But
not
when
any.
there
So
are laws, people are bad to each other.
yeah,
Okay. When
so yeah,
society has norms, there's bad. There. Imagine there are Imagine there are no,
yeah.
like the Wild
I'm one
West
of those
again.
people that tries to
I try to
I
be as
try to hope
positive.
that people are better than I know that they are.
Okay. There's a
I
game.
have I have almost a doctorate in psychology.
Sure.
I
Sure.
understand how people work,
Sure.
and I understand how our brains are wired, and
We're animals, brother. We are animals. At the end of the day,
unfortunately, what's in our best interest.
yeah, we are animals at the end of the day. We
And
need to
apparently,
survive.
Oz thinks that you are now all for cannibalism. You heard it here first.
Absolutely. 100%. Violence Jack episode number 1. Absolutely. Changes into a demon as soon as he eats his wife. 100%. You could, and trust me, that actually happened. Trust
And there's
there
there's
was a there was a movie. It was called The Road with I can't remember who started it. I think it was I can't remember who started it. The movie was called The Road, and it was basically Violence Jack in real life. It was in live action, pretty
live
much.
action.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty much Violence Jack in real action. Um, Corey, do you remember who starred in The Road? Who starred in The Road? You remember The Road? It was basically like
You're talking about Viggo Mortensen?
Viggo Mortensen. That's right, Viggo
That
Mortensen.
one?
The Road.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
He was trying to
Yeah.
protect his son. Right. Him and his
Yeah.
son were trying to go. There were scenes where people were, not to
Yeah.
spoil anything, but basically people were doing terrible things to each other in that movie. Right. Because that's what society had
Yeah.
broken down into, and that was Violence Jack. It was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the the thing about that part of reality, okay, is that these things are only at the deepest, darkest pits of existence, right? We are living in a golden age right now. We are living in a time of peace, relatively. You know what I mean? I mean, you know what's happening.
Technically, we're at the safest period in all of history.
Well, actually, I think that was 10 years ago. Now, before
Might have a
Kuwait,
little
before
less
Kuwait,
safe, but
yeah,
essentially, yes.
20. Actually, it was more like 20 years ago, before Kuwait, before all that stuff. I think the 80s was the safest. Why does everybody reference the 80s? Because it was the goal. It was literally paradise. The 80s was amazing. 90s, all of a sudden, you know, the Gulf War and all this other
Yeah,
crap that started happening. Then the 2000s. Now we're back with Ukraine and all this stuff. There's so much shit. Here's the thing. And Aaron, I think I wonder if you'll agree with me. There's so much shit out in the world today that I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to do my best to help everybody forget about that.
yeah,
The reason my channel is the way it is now is because I want people to have fun. And
yeah,
why do we collect these things? Because we want to forget about the crappy day that we had yet today. Why do
yeah,
we collect these things? Because we are trying our best to remember those great times we had as kids,
yeah,
right? And it's an escape, but at the same time, it really is something that brings people together. You know what I mean? Like, look at this community. What an
yeah,
incredible community of people.
yeah.
Just absolutely. This community has been the absolute best. I can't believe the generosity about this community. Like, absolutely, like pure insanity, right? People coming out to help perfect strangers for the most part, right? Get to locations, right? To a convention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolute, pure, just believing in human nature, in the humanity again.
Yeah,
Absolutely insane. You know what I mean? And this is the type of community I want to be involved with.
yeah,
This is the
and
type of community that I want.
that's
I
the
want
good
to
thing
surround myself
about
with.
what all we're doing. That's one of the reasons that I do this. It's to remind people to still have fun. It's
Sure,
also to get people to find some joy in the everyday,
absolutely,
because I think we
absolutely.
can we can get bogged down in the negativity and all the crap, and all of this stuff that's out there right now in the world and what's going on, and you just start getting buried in it, in that negativity. But you
And
got to
actually,
have something different.
I'm going to say something right now, which is going to be controversial, but at the end of the day, enough with the negativity. Okay, these are goddamn toys. Okay, anybody who's fighting about goddamn toys, what are you? What are we? 12? Are we going back to the freaking playground? Right?
Yes.
Stop
Yeah.
it. These are toys. We are grown men and
This
women
should be
playing
fun.
with freaking toys.
This should be
Stop
fun.
it. Yes, exactly. Stop it.
Why is it not? Why
Yes.
is it some people
Why
want to make it not fun?
why is there toy drama? I can't believe how many freaking videos were fed to me.
Gatekeeping.
Were fed. Why were these videos fed to me about this guy ambushing this guy in a convention because he didn't like what he said?
Yeah,
What the fuck are we talking about?
yeah.
You're
I
talking
don't.
about
And
toys.
then you have the gatekeepers, the ones who say that because some people do some things that they're not, whatever. You know what
You
I'm saying, right? You
Yeah,
know what I'm talking
look, we're
I'm
not
vaguely going
we're
there, but
not
I'm
we're
not
not
going there.
we're I can't believe I
The
know
toy game.
enough. I can't believe I know what you're talking about. That's what really pisses me off. The fact that I know who you're talking about, I know what you're talking about. The fact that I know that pisses me off more than it should. Okay? Okay?
I don't understand the toy gatekeeping.
I
I
don't
don't get,
understand.
as if they own the property or own the ideas, or they own the toy space,
Yeah,
and
but
then
but but
it's
I don't understand people who are like, oh, HasLab should, like, billion-dollar companies should not be doing this, or or toys should all be 24, like sorry, $10 each, no more. Are you freaking crazy? It's
yeah,
2023.
yeah. We don't. It's
plastic
not the 1980s. We're
plastic
not going to
costs
give
three
you.
times what it costs.
Yeah,
To build a die for these freaking figures is
yeah.
millions of dollars. The economy has changed. Everything has changed. Yeah, exactly.
Lawrence is telling you to
Thank you,
get off his
Lawrence.
lawn,
Thank you,
but
Lawrence.
yeah, no, it's funny.
Thank
It's
you,
it's.
Lawrence.
I don't
I'm
understand
gonna
the
squat. I'm
whole.
gonna squat here for a while, Lawrence. We're gonna
That's
stay here.
that. You're fine, because I'm there with you for the most part. I mean, I try to avoid that negativity,
By the way,
because
I,
I
I
don't
happen
have.
I happen I happen to think that Lawrence's channel is great. That's not the type of toy drama I'm complaining about because that's
No,
not
no, no,
toy
no. I
drama.
know who you're talking
No,
about,
no,
and
no, no.
I
I'm not
think you
talking.
know who I'm talking
I,
about.
I know,
That's
I know, but I'm just for Lawrence in particular. It's because we throw jabs at each other all the time. But I'm just saying
yeah,
that Lawrence brings up good points and
yeah,
relative points. But when you start getting into the realm of this of like fantasy, because what
Yeah.
a lot of times a lot of these people are talking about is fantasy, right?
Yeah.
We cannot have toys which are cost $10 each anymore.
Yeah.
It's just there's no, that doesn't exist anymore, right? As much as I'd like to, as much as I'd like to return to the days of $10 toys, we can't. Not if you want, not if you want super articulation.
Nope.
If you want to go back to
Yeah.
5 POA, maybe we can work something out. Okay, if you want to go
Yeah.
back to that,
Exactly.
right? If you want to
Well,
make
no,
toys,
even then they would be like what 11? How much are the retro? They're like
no, well,
11.99 in the US.
here's something.
But
If you want to collect the toys that the kids today's are collecting, we're down. We're
yeah,
down.
exactly.
If you want to collect the toys the kids are collecting, absolutely $10 toys, no problem. But if you want to
Exactly.
collect toys from yesteryear, which kids have no association with, which kids have no interest in,
Yeah.
right? Make no mistake, those toys are being marketed to you and me. That's the demographic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I find it funny when we live in this time where, we're getting to this point where now we're getting tribal and everybody's circling the wagons, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? It's
We're
toy.
not getting. Make no mistake, Eric. We are not going anywhere with that. There's like that's another.
No, I'm not getting involved in it. What I
That's what I
do
mean.
is
That
I
is another
simply
tribe.
unfollow and move along.
But this is my point. That is another tribe altogether, right? My tribe, your tribe.
Yeah.
We are here to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to
I want
say?
to have fun.
This is the
I want
thing.
to talk to good. I
We're here
want to
to have
talk to
fun.
good people. I want to talk
That's the
about
key, right?
toys. I want to talk about silly things like, I don't know, like this question that I have for you is, if space and money weren't an object, weren't a problem, it's the magic question. In psychology we would ask ask a patient, if all of your problems went away today, what would you do? So in toys, when I say this, I'm going to say, if space and money, which are the two largest problems that we have, weren't an issue, what would you collect?
So if you had asked me that question in 2018, it would have been the world. I would collect everything. I would literally collect everything. Having gone through a lot of shit and realizing I can't have everything, and realizing I don't love everything, really realizing that there's stuff actually I hate, which I bought, and I have no idea why I bought it.
See, those were buyer's regrets.
No, this is my point. This is but did I do it? What did I do it for? Right. I have several lines which I will absolutely 100% complete. Master Universe, Thundercats, GI Joe, Conan the Barbarian, right? Avatar: The Last Airbender. There are certain lines that I will 100% try my best to complete and put in a fucking museum. It's a goal that I have in my life, right? But that's the temperament that I've had to learn over the course of buying too many things and realizing I don't need this anymore. So that's how that goes.
So,
and some Star Wars, just a little bit,
and some stuff. So, do you ever have that desire to just cut down to this? This is the core of what it is.
I just
kind of discussed it there briefly, but what would determine that desire to cut it down? What exactly would it be?
So I really have to love it. I love Star Wars, but not so much that I need every fucking character.
Yeah.
Okay. George Lucas is a genius. He bewitched us with all this idea that every single character in the movie, every single character in the show has to have an action figure. No. Okay. Collect the way you want. Collect whoever you want. You don't need everything. Okay.
Or you'll get 5 versions of the same character.
So. My point. There are 10 Mandos right now. 10.
Yeah.
10 freaking Mandos, right? I don't need 10 Mandos.
You need 1. Well, and that's the same way. It's the same way with Legends. I mean, Marvel Legends, they do the same thing where you'll get iterations of that same character over and over and over and over and over and over. At some point, you just go, I get 1 and I'm good. But I mean, for next year, I think the only Marvel Legend that I have on my plate is Crystar.
Crystar is just, that came out of left field. Where the hell did that come from?
I'm so glad it came out of left field. I wanted something new. Give me something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we have got to the end, we got one more question, and then the big question of the night. So, is there a time that you see yourself not collecting? What does that look like for you?
So toy companies make that very hard. Toy companies make that very, very hard to do. Um, thank goodness I'm not like when I started collecting Black Series. I thought I was gonna. I thought it was over. I thought I was gonna collect everything. Thank God I came to a realization I don't need everything, and I've really scaled back on Black Series. Um, Motu's coming to an end. Even though I don't want to admit that, Motu is coming to an end, and that will soon be probably another 2 years. I would imagine, no more. If it lasts 2 years, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Motu will stop, and then probably reboot again another 10 years. And at that point, who knows? But if Motu was to stop in 2 years, I'd be happy because they've made the promise to complete the Origins line. That's incredible. Their Masterverse line is just bonkers. I love it. Right.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy with that. Mondo just keeps going with these god awful figures, which is amazing. So it might continue there in some capacity, but there is an end. Like with Motu anywhere, there's an end. There's the end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel is right there. I can see it. Right. GI Joe, holy shit! GI Joe is just bonkers right now. They cannot do wrong at this point. GI Joe, like the O-ring line is dead. They killed it themselves.
Yeah.
They should have kept going with the retro line. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. The retro line had a lot of life in it. They should have kept it going. Instead, they decided to bring back O-rings and killed the 3 3/4 line. So GI Joe has a light at the end of the tunnel too, but it's another 2 or 3 years if it keeps going as strong as it is right now. Something eventually would derail that. But I think what they're going to have to start doing now is figure out which vehicles are feasible, because just by looking at the Firefly, at the Dragonfly, that's already testing a lot of people and their ability to. People are talking about the flag. I'm like, you guys are insane. You guys are nuts.
You'd literally it would
You
be
guys
it
are
would be
insane.
21 feet long. Good luck finding room.
No, it's gonna be O-ring. There's no way they're not gonna release. It's gonna be the O-ring. It's gonna be a re-release of the O-ring, and that's gonna be it. They're not gonna do a black. If they do a Black Series, it's gonna be the superstructure and a piece of the flag, like
or
that,
like
right?
it would be it would be the if it was going to do anything, it would be like the barracks and
the superstructure, the tower. It would be the superstructure and probably that portion of the thing, or it would be a subscription model where you have to build it in stages,
in pieces. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's the way I'd look at it.
Yeah.
So that's
I just that my ex-wife sold my entire Joe collection for $75, including a flag. All of my vehicles. I had a Mobat, I had Snowcats, I had Polar Battle Bears, I had a Rattler, I had Sky Striker. This was
I'm forgive me, but I'm guessing that was a revenge thing because that sounds terrible.
This was I put prices on it that I didn't want to sell it, and when I went to work, I guess she and my mom decided that was the time that they would sell it.
Jesus Christ, that's just
at a garage sale. So
no, that is terrible, man. That is terrible. At least get the value for it. What the hell were they thinking?
But anyway, this was 96, so Joe wasn't really that valuable in 96.
It was still valuable to somebody. Anyway,
it wasn't that well, obviously, because somebody bought it.
Yep. And they're laughing now.
Yeah, they're laughing now. That's for sure. Or they probably just gave it to their kids. So the last question that I have is the most important, and this is what I try to get people to do. So, what did you find joy in today?
You want to be perfectly honest?
Yeah.
My joy today was coming onto your show and having a good time, and honestly, just relating to other toy collectors and yourself. Because to be honest with you, I hadn't thought about a lot of these things in a long time. And I'm not saying that just because we're here. I'm actually saying that I had a stressful day. I did. I had a really stressful day today, talking about the upcoming tax season. Talking about
Hmm.
the quarter that we're about to have, because I didn't have a very good quarter. I've got my problems. I got my
Yeah.
problems, and coming here and speaking with you, right? Dex is here, so is Core. Everybody's here, but you know, being able to vent, and this is kind of therapeutical, you know. So being able
There is a reason why it's called toy
yeah,
therapy.
toy therapy, yeah, exactly. But this has actually been an incredible experience for me. So this actually has brought me a lot of joy. And I'm not just saying that, right? This is something where you know you and I, two toy collectors, and everybody here who's watching, we all go through the same hardships and the same difficulties, and to be able to share that and relate to other people with that type of message, that's amazing. And that's, I think, I hope other people can learn from that and take
Yeah.
away something positive today, because this is what we do, Aaron. This is actually what we're here for. So
This is why I do this. Um, I do it, one, because it kind of helps people reconnect with why they do things, like why they're collecting. You know, a lot of us, we get into collecting for whatever, little thing that it was, and for me, getting back into collecting was something that I'd always liked. Toys. Toys in my childhood, they were an escape from what was going on in my home. Um, for me as an adult, I have an immense amount of stress with my son. Um, and these give me whatever little brief moment of days that I get to do these. The show on Friday nights, I hang out with Oz on Saturday nights, and I use these as a way to manage that stress of, I gave up a lot of things for my son. I gave up my primary career, which was um, I was a program coordinator for a psychiatric hospital. So I designed everything that the kids did. I designed the day-to-day structures. I worked with the kids. Um, I enjoyed it, but I burned out, because I was getting it that work, and then I would come home and deal with my son's autism. So it was a lot at one point. And, I scaled back, and I do something completely different that's not even remotely tied to my long term, why I went to school for 10 years for. So it's an interesting thing. Um, for me, what I'm trying to do now is finding the joy in every day. Um, Finding something to be grateful for, something to be happy about, even if it's a bad day. I'm trying to find that one glimmer. And for me, I guess today was that I actually managed to clean up, my diorama from the kitchen table. My wife was happy that it was gone too. And then I cleaned up my space in the garage for doing all my customs and my diorama work. So now I have an actual workable space now, and I don't have to move it somewhere else. So that's where I found my joy today. I managed to get that done. A little bit of project, but it got done.
Aaron, you're a hero, man. You're a hero, and don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not, because
I appreciate
what you've done for your family, what you've done for your son, nothing can replace that. So
appreciate that. So last thing, I know everybody pretty much knows where you are, because honestly, who doesn't know who Mega J is at this point? Um, I know you have a stream tonight, right? Midnight.
and you're welcome to come, Aaron. I know you're probably tired. There's things you got to do, but if you want to drop by all means. But of course, it's about hour and 15 minutes. But it's just we're going to talk about PowerCon 2024. Oz is going to be there. I hope. Again,
I'm sure he will be. He's
Lawrence.
the late night
Yeah,
owl.
Lawrence. If you want to join, let me know. And guys, just let me know. And of course, if anybody just wants to come listen to the chat, by all means, please. Everybody's welcome. So,
So anything else you got going for the weekend?
I mean,
Throw it out there.
well, up here, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadians out there. Guys, stay safe, enjoy yourselves. not too much. Guys, say hi to your family. Like, call your mom. Seriously, like it's you never know. You never know what you'll have until it's gone. Like, seriously, I'm gonna go see my dad, and yeah, just spend some time with family. That's pretty much the plan for this weekend. So yeah.
Well, my weekend planned is, as far as I know. I'm assuming we're doing a hangout tomorrow night, Oz. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming it's a hot, but see, we've been trying to do. We all got that red mask of death figure, and for whatever reason, I am the one that's waiting on mine to come in. Mine hasn't even shipped yet. Mine, they say they posted on Instagram today that they got everything shipped out today. Did I get a shipping notification? That's a negative. So I don't know who's telling stories. So, but yeah, no, that's what I'll be doing
Check your junk
tomorrow.
mail. Check your junk mail.
It comes through shop, so it gives me a notification anytime that a label is printed. So it's great for that. So it's one of the reasons why I use that. It's because it lets the app actually, everything that I purchase goes through shop. So when it goes through there, anytime that they hit anything like a shipping notification, it'll pop up. Yeah, and Oz is right. It'll probably just show up. I have a feeling it's just going to show up randomly. I mean, I thought that this was that. I was like all excited because it had 4 horsemen on the outside of the box, and I was like, ah, and then it was no. I was like, oh, okay, that's a different thing. We'll start that back over. But yeah, no. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add. And with that, I want to say thank you for coming on. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm glad I got to know Jay a little bit more.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Aaron. It's been an absolute pleasure. It truly is what's brought me joy for today, for sure.
All right. With that, folks, we will be around at somewhere, someplace. You'll see me plenty of times. And with that, I'm going to leave you all with that question. Find some joy today, and you all have a good evening. Bye.